Nos iterum dixit.
Maybe in the last minute of your life you want to be something more than a goddamn savage!
Annunziare mendatio. Ego sum homo indomitus.
You like this? Oh, you like being food for the immortal?
Hail, my savage friends, and welcome to Savage Spirituality. You are listening to the voice of Immortal COIL, Patal, one of God's own prototypes, a high-powered mutant of some kind never even considered for mass production. Too weird to live, too rare to die. It is Saturday, April the 20th, 11 p.m. West Coast, Seattle, and it is time, my friends, to get savage. This video contains copywritten content. However, under the Fair Use Act, Section 504c2, Title 17 of the United States Code, this content is presented for the purposes of education and entertainment through the use of parody, satire, critique, analysis, and/or social commentary by means of subjective opinion. Viewer discretion is advised. We have just under 1,000 hours to get monetized, so hit the bell, share out the link, drop me some comments, let me know how I may serve you. I want to say hail to the chat. Right off the bat, we got Deborah Cohen coming in, loyal soldier, wishing a happy birthday. Yeah, my birthday is actually on Sunday. So if those of you who are tuning in from the East Coast and beyond, it's already on my birthday. I'm still waiting for the world to spin, but I appreciate the sentiment. Thank you, Deborah. We also have Jessica Sao. Happy birthday, Immortal Coil. Happy birthday, sweetie. Or thank you for the birthday wishes, sweetie. I really appreciate that. We got RR, our loyal soldier. Been here since the beginning. What's up, man? Thanks for tuning in. We got Roxy W. What's happening, Rox? Appreciate you swinging by. And towards that end, I don't normally do this too much, but if you guys feel like since I'm not monetized, if you feel like dropping some coin, I threw in my PayPal into the comments, and just wrenches, if you could maybe like every half hour or so, just kind of like retweet that out. Yeah, things have been kind of interesting lately. Not sure if Steven's going to make it tonight or not. He forgot that he had to work early tomorrow. So if he comes by, cool. If not, then you guys can rib him on his X or his Facebook or whatever. But I get it, you know, if you got to put food on the plate for your family, all that kind of stuff, more power to him. He's got 2 growing boys that he needs to take care of as well as himself. He has a cockatiel, and I want to say he has a kitty cat too. So, you know, besides all that, he's had an exciting week. So uh, you know, taking a week off's not a big deal. Plus, there's been a couple of streams where I was like, yeah, I'll show up, and shit happened and I couldn't do it. But essentially, you know, I used to run the show by myself all the time. It's not like a difficult chore to do. It's just easier when I have other people to bounce ideas off of. Now, when Steven and I first started, I didn't really have like a shit ton of people come out except for people like RR. He's been there the whole time. But as the show is growing and we get more of you in here, we're gonna riff on some stuff for a little bit, and then basically the chat takes over, and questions and comments end up steering the show in strange and wonderful directions. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, the chat is wild. That's the basic end of the show kind of shenanigans that we get into. Today, since it's gonna be my birthday. Like I said, I still have about 45 minutes, but I thought it would be interesting to talk about reincarnation and what I understand about it, what my uh, past lives were like, things like that. And then if you guys have any questions, or you guys remember your past lives and want to kind of share it out, that's cool. We can get into that. But real fast, I wanted to get into sort of like a recap of the week kind of thing. One of my uh, audience people who ended up like reaching out to me, her name's Jillian Tipping, and she lives in Italy, and we started talking. We have like a rapport going on, and she was like, "Hey, have you ever considered palmistry?" And I was like, well, it's something that I can do, but I'm not like the super best at it. I'm not like fluid where I can sit there and stare at your hand and like you know, give you like a 30-minute kind of like counseling session. Uh she's like, well, how much would you charge for something like that? And I said, I don't know. And I just pulled a number out of my ass. I was like, I don't know, $20. Because I've actually been having some hard times financially. I try not to complain about mundane things on streams and in the public sphere, but you know, she was like, "Well, listen, I know that you feel weird about just like taking money, um, and despite it being your birthday and blah blah blah, if that's something that you know how to do, I would pay you to do it." And I was like, "Okay, that sounds fair. It's a trade of goods and services for monetary value." And it's not going to break the bank. So I was just like, listen, if you wanted a palmistry reading, just take clear photographs of both of your hands and DM them to me, and then I'll work on it and get back to you. So that's essentially what she did. She sent me photographs of her hands, and I went and consulted some sources and gave her a pretty accurate reading from what she said. So I was like, "So you feel like your worth was," and she goes, "Yeah, I have some follow-up questions." And I'm like, "That's cool." Um, and then she goes, "You ought to think about uh doing that, like see if the audience is into that kind of thing. So if you guys are into some palmistry, $20, send me some pictures of your hands, and then I'll communicate with you and get back to you." I can't really do it on a stream, like I'm saying, I'm not fluent at it. Probably need some more practice, but there's an idea. Um, I used to do like card readings on people, and I had a special tarot deck that was gifted to me that I would read people with, and me and my friend Rhea, and we would also have like a rotating guest psychic. Uh, we used to read people uh, at like nightly events in Lakewood, Washington. Uh, those were some of what I'd like to call the good old days. But suffice it to say that that's the sort of uh, thing that we used to do. I'm not super huge on monetizing psychic skills because I don't want to be seen as a fortune teller or a charlatan or anything like that. But you know, since times is hard, as the bluesmen say, that might be a service you guys might be interested in. So get at me in the comments, or if you want to find me on Twitter or X as they fucking call it now, um, at Immortal Coil, except the I and the L and the other L, they're all ones instead of letters. Um, so reincarnation. What does that mean? Well, that means that the the soul survives the physical body's death. It returns to source, it's cleansed, it has a chance to review and contemplate, and then it chooses its next physical existence. Um, Evolution is a upward kind of momentum, so it's not like you're going to come back as a snail if you're an asshole. Basically, what ends up happening usually is if you're an asshole, you'll come back into a life and have somebody be an asshole to you in much the same way. So, you guys who are like, well, like pedophiles and rapists, they get to go to heaven. What the fuck? Well, yeah, everybody gets to go to heaven, but usually what ends up happening is if you're a rapist, you're going to reincarnate and be raped. And that's not a hard and fast rule, but typically what you visit out is repaid until you get that you shouldn't be an asshole and that everybody is sacred, even the assholes. And if you are evolved enough to love an asshole, boy, that sounds dirty, doesn't it? Then you've mastered an aspect of reality, you know. And incarnating on Earth is different than incarnating in different societies. Most of us here, believe it or not, actually have had extraterrestrial existences. And some of us here who are in communication with extraterrestrials, you might have dual lives going on, which means it doesn't take a lot of energy for your soul to run a human body. So why not run a human body and an ET body at relatively the same time? The interesting thing though is that humans at this juncture do not live as long as most extraterrestrials. Most extraterrestrials have lifespans of ranging from a couple hundred years to a couple thousand years. Some of them even longer than that. So breaking off a chunk of your energy and then animating a human body isn't really such a huge undertaking. And some of those people are able to do it by will. So they know exactly what's going on, and then they're able to like kind of interface with themselves in a way. Um, the big advantage that incarnating as a Terran human has over everything else is that because our lifespans are so short, we're able to gain a lot of experience in a relatively small amount of time. So if extraterrestrial society has an average lifespan of say 1,000 years, and I'm just pulling a number out of my ass, it would take their society a lot longer to evolve because uh, you have to physically grow and your life process takes a longer amount of time. Even though all that kind of stuff is relative, you don't really notice it when you're in the extraterrestrial society. But even in like antediluvial records from Sumer and Akkad, they talk about how when Anu and Leo and Enki first came to Earth, how quickly the days seemed to go because the world was spinning faster than the place that they came from. And then once humanity was created, how quickly they grew and died. Because these guys lived, you know, long time, long time. Now, it would do to actually talk about the nature of the soul, because if you have a foggy concept of what that is, then this idea of reincarnation seems a bit woo-woo. Okay. Most people think that their soul lives in their body. You know, like that's why they have the word out of body experience, which is a kind of a misnomer. And actually, the truth is spirit envelops your physical body. If you can see auras, you would know that because you can see the energy around people, and it's not like shining out from your body. It actually um, even numbered layers of the aura, and there's um, 7 of them. The even layers are actually lattice structure layers that are more or less shaped like a human body, and it provides an energetic grid for your cells to grow upon. And this starts way when you're a baby, you know, even inside your mom's womb. Uh, the the material that spirit is made out of is the same material as the source, as the creator of everything. It's just individuated. It has all the same characteristics and capabilities. It's just a fragment, and there's infinite pieces of the creator existing as these souls that are then able to um, animate physical bodies such as ours. Um, there is components of your aura that are unique to your own enfleshed incarnation. So um, that when you die, parts of that energy matrix fade, but your consciousness and your higher self, as they call it, survives. And it's kind of like, what do you do when your car breaks? You get a new car, right? You get a new vehicle. Same thing. When you get too old or too sick or are mortally wounded, your spirit lets go of the body and it moves on. Okay. So I want to tell a story about the time that I met a past life hypnotherapist. And it's a wild story. You know, I know I have a lot of strange stories, but this one really shows the synchronicities of the universe. And if you're somebody who's not metaphysical, it's going to sound fantastic. But especially around the time that this was occurring in my life, things like this did not surprise me. This happened when I was probably 28 or 29, maybe 30, maybe 30. Because I think no, I was 31 because my daughter's mother was pregnant with my daughter Lyra. Okay. Sorry, I had to wet my whistle. Uh, so when I was a teenager, prior to waking up and having my Kundalini experience and getting my switch flipped on, I went to school with this kid named Tony. And Tony was a sweet kid, but he had brain cancer. And Tony died when we were all about 14 or 15. And it was the first time a person our age died. And we all knew it was coming because I mean the kid like was getting chemo and balder than Professor X and wore a hat and was real thin, but he was real sweet. He was a kind human, and you know, he just needed 15 years, I guess, this time. But I think his true purpose was to affect people and to show them to be grateful for life and all that kind of stuff. I still have an art book somewhere where I was supposed to draw his picture, but I never did it. But I remember they had this like black piece of cloth. And, for a number of years on the anniversary of his death, I would wear that cloth around with me. But, especially after I moved away, uh, parents were divorced, lived with dad, moved in with mom kind of thing. Uh, all that stuff got put in storage and I, didn't have it. So I would think about him, but I didn't have a cloth anymore. So he dies, years go by. My switch gets flipped. I start seeing auras. I start interacting with spirits and ETs. I start getting into metaphysical things. Um, I go to college. I meet a woman. I get her pregnant. But then I'm doing these psychic panel things with my friend Rhea, like I was telling you guys, and she had like a weekly meditation circle aside from special events, and I'd come to the meditation circle. Um, and one day there was this guy that was hanging out. He was new. Nobody had ever seen him before. And since I sort of worked there, I was kind of like the welcoming committee. So I start chatting with him just briefly, and he tells me that he's into past life regression and all that kind of stuff. And we start talking about Star Trek for some reason. And he goes, "Yeah, me and my son used to watch that quite a bit." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." So I was like, "What got you into past life hypnotherapy?" And he goes, "Well, since my son died, I started reading about reincarnation, and it sort of gives me comfort that he's not like gone forever." And I was like, "Well, of course he's not gone forever." And he tells me his name, and his name, I forget the hypnotherapist's first name, but he was like, you know, I'm just gonna pull a first name out of the air, okay? My name's Joe Brouillette. And I was like, Brouillette. And I was like, I used to know a kid named Tony Brouillette. And he goes, "Did he have cancer?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "That's my son." And then like we had this like moment between us, and the chill went up my back and the energy. And I said, "I think Tony wanted us to meet." And he goes, "Wow." So this hypnotherapist deal was that was new to hypnotherapy. Almost said hypnotherapism. Just making up words on my birthday, you guys. He was new to hypnotherapy and he had practiced on a couple of people, but he still was like eager to kind of test the waters. And he goes, "Would you be interested in having a past life regression?" And I said, "Sure, I'll help you. Yeah, not a problem. But you got to understand that I'm not like everybody else." And he's like, "Well, everybody says that, and they're kind of surprised when they see their past lives. It's not a huge big deal." And I said, "Okay, but if you go rummaging around in my head, you're probably going to see some shit." And he goes, "Fine." So we set up a date. He comes over to my house and, uh, you know, we're doing the relaxation exercises. I'm laying on a couch. He's counting backwards. He had a pretty nice voice, very soothing, and he had some pretty good imagery. Um, and it's also important to mention this guy is coming from a Christian perspective. Um, I forget his denomination, but when Tony died, we had his services at the guy's church, and it was a pretty big church, but it was very much a church. And there's all kinds of Jesus things and all that kind of stuff, which I'm not. If you're a Christian and you're a nice person, more power to you. Um, Christ consciousness is a thing. You know, stories about Jesus are kind of hyperbolic, but you know, what do you expect? The message has been managed. So this guy's coming from a Christian perspective. So there are things that he was expecting, and then there were some things that happened that were very unexpected. And one of those things was that as he regressed me, he's like, "You're gonna come to a room, and it's gonna have some doors in it. There's gonna be several doors. How many doors do you see?" And I say, "I see thousands." And he goes, "Oh." He goes, okay, these doors represent your past lives. And you can go to any door that you're attracted to and open it, and then we can see what's going on in the past life. As you step through the door, you'll become the person that you were that time. And then I would like for you to describe what you see. So he's like, pick a door, go through it, let me know. So I said, okay. And I went through the door and I was not human. He's like, describe yourself. Because he was expecting, like, oh, you're going to be a little Dutch girl and then you're going to have like a German accent. I was like, no, I'm not human. And he goes, what do you mean you're not human? I said, I'm not human. I have green skin. He goes, okay, tell me about your location. And I said, I think I'm on Mars. He's like, how do you know that you're on Mars? I said, because everything is kind of orange. He's like, okay, what are you doing on Mars? And I said, I think I'm a scientist. And he goes, you're a scientist. Okay, what are you working on? And I said, I think I'm working on the human genome. And he goes, oh, okay. He's like, that's all interesting. Let's leave that door alone for a little bit. Let's go back to the room. Okay. Go back to the room with all the doors in it. And I said, okay. And I could tell like he's getting a little uncomfortable. So he's like, okay, go ahead and pick another door. And I said, okay. And he goes, what do you see? And I said, okay, I think I'm a little bit more human, but I'm still not a Terran human. And he goes, oh. He's like, what do you see? I said, again, I'm in like a laboratory setting. I have some assistants. They're also not human, not Terran human, but they're humanoid. And we're working with exotic technology. And he goes, okay, well, what's happening? And I said, okay, we're supposed to be conducting experiments that are very important to our authority structure. But there are other races who are not happy with what we are doing. And they're about to attack. And he goes, okay. You don't have to feel the physical pain of the attack, but I'd like for you to describe what happens. And I said, okay, we realize that the attack is imminent. So me and the assistants are sanitizing the lab as much as we can. And it's not like a lab today where there's like data that you have to erase and all that kind of shit. It's just most of it's like holographic kind of stuff. You manifest what you need to, this guy's sitting here like listening to me just like jaw on the floor kind of shit. And so we leave and then we have to board an escape vehicle. And he goes, what is that, like a car or something? And I'm like, no, it's kind of like a ship, except it's meant to work inside atmosphere. It can go into outer space if it needs to, but it's more for local transport. And he goes, okay. So he's like, so how does it work? Do you push buttons? What do you do? And I'm like, no, you drive it with thought. You get in and you use your mind to make the solid wall transparent. Over the transparency, there's like overlays of data. And then you can start to fly it. And he goes, okay, so you're starting to fly. Where are you going? And I'm like, well, we don't really get that far because one of the weapons hits us and the craft goes in the water and I die because I drowned. He's like, what's that like? And I'm like, well, the water in the lungs part doesn't feel good, but as soon as I understood that I was about to die, it's like I faded back. And it's kind of like when you die in a video game, how the camera just kind of pulls back and it doesn't say game over when you actually die, but that's the feeling. You're like, okay, so you're pulling away and the body's still dying, but you're not really feeling the pain associated with that. It's just like the physical organism reacting. And then I die. And he goes, okay, let's back out of that life. And this time I'd like you to choose an earth life, a human life. So I found a life where I was a female and I was being accused of like witchcraft. And they weren't at the point where they were going to burn me or something, but they were you know heaping suspicion upon me. And then wouldn't you know it, like our time was up, and he's like, "Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do for you. Um, I'm gonna leave you with access to this hallway full of doors, and you can come back and visit it whenever you'd like. And then anything you'd like to know about your past lives is right there. So I'm gonna give you the key." He had like this imagery with elevators and all this kind of shit. It's like, "I'm gonna give you a key from the elevator, and you can come back anytime that you're in a meditative state." So, I wake up and we start talking about what happened, and he goes, "I was not expecting those first two lives that you talked about." And I said, "Why is that?" And he goes, "Well, frankly, because I'm a Christian and we don't really have, aliens and shit in our philosophy." And I go, "Oh, but you do. Have you read Genesis?" And he goes, "What do you mean?" And I'm like, going through all the evidence of human ET contact from Genesis, and I could tell like he was reaching the limit of his understanding. And this interaction that we had, even though it was preordained, was seriously pushing his spiritual life. And he sort of gave me like this, like, "Well, we should do this again sometime," but it was very amorphous, and it was very clear that we probably weren't going to do it again sometime. And I saw him once or twice more at the meditations, but we never really went into depth about what the ramifications were for him personally as a result of regressing me. Um, so those are my reincarnation stories. Um, I do I do have memories of other things, but that story in itself sort of encapsulates uh, my experience with hypnotic regression. Um, which if I were to do it again, I think I would like to be regressed by somebody who has a little bit more experience with non-human lifetimes. Recently, I was reading this book called "The Convoluted Universe" by Dolores Cannon, and Dolores Cannon is dead now, but she did have an institute where they trained thousands of people. I think that you can still go and get trained in the methodology that she used. Um, but essentially, she started writing books. I think she has like 12 or 13 of them, something like that. And she would regress people, and then they would start talking about ET lives, or non-human lives, or lives where they were just energy holding a specific shape, like a massive rock on the side of a mountain. You know, Spirit can do that kind of stuff when it's not encumbered by human bodies. Um, the most fantastical thing that I personally did and do in between lives was what I call galaxy games, where you design galaxies, you design star locations, planets, you provide environments for life to inhabit. Sometimes as spirit, you go and you fuck with the DNA of some of the local flora and fauna, and then the next generation or two that introduces a change in the organism, which leads to new species, things like that. Um, all these things are not outside the realm of spirit, particularly when you're not living as a human and conditioned by political and governmental and economic belief systems. Spirit is literally unbound and can do anything, and it does everything it can because that's what makes the whole grow. And I'm not talking about your whole, ladies. I'm talking about a hole with a W. Okay, so we're gonna check out what the chat's saying. I appreciate you riding with me here on my crazy birthday sled ride. Let's see here. Deborah, let's get this party. We got Coil in the house. Jessica says, "Unfortunately, I have to sign off in 10 minutes because it's 1:08 in the morning here." Hey, I understand, sweetie. catch up with us on the replay. I appreciate you swinging through. That's mighty kind of you. Um, a lot of you guys from the Dragonstorm community um, have been very kind to embrace me. You know, Steven himself is a force of nature. He he has a lot of energy and a lot of spunk. Um, and yeah, I guess I said spunk, right? But you know, he's an old friend. I've known him for 7 or 8 years, and we've streamed together on different iterations of his platform. Um, all of them, I think. But one of the things was obviously he got involved with toxic characters, and it affected his personality and his ability to manage his channel. And for a while, like I had to step back from him. But you know, we came back together, um, and I was able to sort of guide him in certain ways back to balance. You know, and not to say like he's completely 100% balanced, but he's a fair shake better than he used to be. And the benefit for me was that he trusted me enough to introduce me to you guys, and a lot of you guys ended up coming over and digging the Savage stuff, which I find interesting because, from my perspective, um, especially toxic relationships, those are like training relationships, and we have things like we have a family dynamic that we have to master as far as like mom and dad and brother and sister kind of shit. And then we have training relationships like, you know, these ones in high school and college and marriage partners and all that kind of stuff. They're um, a type of training as well. And once we get a handle on those, then we can start to balance out our character and then open ourselves up to our life task, which is how are we going to contribute to the upliftment of humanity. Um, and those things are sort of impossible to do if you haven't had a period of growth. Now, this is also contingent on whether you did master those dynamics or not. If you didn't, then you will basically recreate them ad infinitum until you master them. If you do, then yes, you have the opportunity to embrace metaphysical skill, and who knows, you might become interesting to spirit. You might become interesting to other intelligent life, which is what I believe happened with me. You know, I don't think that just because I lived ET lives that's why ETs want to fuck with me. I think that this life that I'm living currently, um, which isn't perfect by the way, I still have some some shit to level out. Uh, but especially when I was younger, I was much more interesting to them than you know, most of humanity. Probably for the same reasons why you guys enjoyed this program. I'm not your average bear. And when you get me speaking about what I truly like speaking about, it's out of this world. You know, I actually have a hard time making friends with regular humans because, I mean, I joke with Steven about this. I call them muggles because they're just like living on their cell phone and all they care about is what's sexy at the mall and which sports team won the fucking game, you know? It's and especially like if you're walking around and you're an empath and you can hear thoughts, most people's thoughts are just errant and there's not much room for depth. Um, truthfully, a lot of the more interesting people that I know that have depth of character have either traveled abroad or were immigrants. You know, I used to work with this guy who was like a fisherman back on his back in his home, and he immigrated to America and became acclimated with the language and the technology and all this kind of shit, but he still has his roots at home. So we were able to talk about some pretty deep stuff. Um, you know, and I don't really get to go into depth with people that much. like I said, I was talking with Jillian, and she was saying like, "Well, are you going to tell everybody that it's your birthday?" And I was like, Steven already said something about it in Twitter, so probably. And she goes, "I don't understand why you wouldn't." And I said, "Because I'm not used to being celebrated, you know. I don't really have many friends. Um, Steven's probably my closest friend. I have a couple of friends that I grew up with, but they have like families and shit, so they don't really talk all the time. And then I have you guys in the chat, but we're all dispersed thousands of miles apart. So the only time I'm gonna have to interface with you guys are times like this, or we're streaming, or when Steven hits 50,000 subs and we take the show on the road, so to speak. So share out Dragonstorm. Make sure everybody's watching it. We had a really awesome week a couple weeks ago when we were profiling Professor Vaknin, and Professor Vaknin himself retweeted our show. And I was actually having a kind of weird morning when Steven called me up and he goes, "Hey, did you see that we got retweeted by Professor Vaknin?" And I was like, "Wow." I was like, part of me would like to think that our show is just that good, but part of me also realizes that as a recovering narcissist himself, anybody who says his name is probably going to get his curiosity boner raging, you know. And but it's good, and actually, something that he and I have in common. We share the same birthday, so happy birthday, Professor Backman. Appreciate you, man. Let's see what we got here. RR says Savage Salute. Geez, I forgot to do that, didn't I? Let's go ahead and raise high whatever it is you are imbibing. Join me with the Savage Salute. Here is to us. What is like us? Not a goddamn thing. Tastes like unmitigated gall. Papa Cotton's in the house. He says, "Hail Coil. What's up, Wook? How you doing, my friend?" Coming in with the hashtag fatties. Yes, Hail Trans Fat. Mike Does is in the house. Happy birthday, Coil. I appreciate you, Mike. Thank you for swinging by on the Steven-less night. Unless Steven's dream walking at the moment. Well, that'd be funny if Steven's like body is asleep, but his like spirit's like here. I wonder if I could call him to me. Probably. RR, happy birthday, Coil. I appreciate that. Here is me with the PayPal link. If you guys feel like dropping some coins, since I am not monetized, I still have like 900 something odd hours to go before I'm monetized, but today's a special occasion. Like I said, $20 palm readings. You can send me some pictures and I'll get back to you with your palmistry profile. Let's see here. Wook says, "I'm not sure I'm gonna make it. It's been a long day." Hey, it's okay, buddy. Steven didn't even make it. Steven's out there hustling. He's got a weekend job that's fairly important. He did wish me a happy birthday though. We started talking and he called me on the phone. He's like, "Look, man, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to show up." And I was like, "Well, even if I say it's my birthday," and he goes, "Ah, shit, it's your birthday." And I was like, "Listen, it's not a huge deal, and I didn't really mean to pull a birthday card like that, but it would be cool if you showed up, every all the cool kids will be there, you know." Well, he's like, "Listen, I got this job and like I gotta get up and work in the morning and shit, and I don't think I can stay up from like 3 to 6 like I normally do." And I'm like, "Hey, it's not a big deal, dude. So if you gotta bow out for a week, like I said, I've flaked on your program a couple times, so it's not a huge deal. I used to run the show by myself anyway." And he's like, "Well, but happy birthday, you sexy motherfucker," or whatever the hell Steven says. And I'm just like, "Yeah, September, the month of September is generally a sexy time." And he goes, "Yeah, for my parents too." And I was like, "Yeah, Well, let's not forget about the Hitlers, you know, which is a terrible joke, but I mean, come on. Ma and Pa Hitler getting down, making little Dolph. Shit. That's so fucked up. I'm sorry, you guys. You have to have morbid senses of humor sometimes. I mean, Papa gets it. It's like fatty humor to get yourself through the day kind of thing. Let's see here. There she is, Jillian. Happy birthday. I appreciate you, sweetie. Just telling everybody about the palmistry gig. Hopefully you can talk me up a little bit in the chats and let everybody know that I'm not a fucking gypsy in a wagon waving feathers and magic wands around. Deborah says you could do palmistry at art fairs and such, Coil. I need some more practice first. Like I said, I'm not fluent in it 100%. I can't like sit there with your hand and just like start going off. I can read auras and I can read energy pretty well. I can do tarot all right. Steven's far superior in tarot, but he's been doing it nonstop since he was like a teenager, I want to say. Whereas I am more intuitive about it, you know. And like I said, when we were doing readings at Rhea's events, I would use cards sometimes, but I would really just read people's auras. And sometimes I was telling them things that they didn't like about themselves and they didn't want to listen to me. But they'd always come up to me at the end of the event and they'd be like, you kind of pissed me off with what you said, but you're not wrong. So maybe that's something I need to look at. And I said, hey, that's all we're doing. We're just holding up mirrors here. So, rightio. But the way that this would work initially is, $20. You guys would photograph your hands and DM them to me, and then I would, consult my sources and then come back with a palmistry profile. Jill seemed pretty happy with hers, so and if you guys are curious, you can ask her about it. Let's see here. RR says channeling Walton. Now that's Pandora's box there. Walton's asleep. You open up his head. What the fuck are you going to find? Is that something you even want to look at? I don't know. Walton's a multi-layered fellow. I think I could handle it. I don't know about everybody though. That'd be funny. We'll have to give him some shit in the morning and tell him that we were playing with his astral self. I'm sure for the ladies, Stephen would ask you to play with his astral wing. I'm not going near that side of him though. I mean, I love the guy, but I don't swing that way. I'm for the ladies, if you know what I mean. Never say never 10. Good morning from the Netherlands. Holy shit. Hey, thanks for joining us. One of the things Stephen he felt bad about not being able to show up on my birthday. And he's like, is there any way that you could do like a birthday stream? And I said, well, thing is that there's people in like other countries that want me to that rely on me to stream at this time of night. Plus it sort of defeats the whole Art Bell gimmick if you do it earlier in the day. I have been wanting to increase the number of shows that we do on a weekly basis. So that's a possibility. We just have to have availability for it. And then again, if our families need us or if work functions interrupt, then it is what it is, but at worst, if you don't have two charming motherfuckers, you have at least one. All right. Deborah says, I view souls as light sparks. That's interesting. So upon the physical death, your spirit draws back from the body, like I was explaining with the past life episode, and you go back to source. And most people report source as being like a light, and not just like a light bulb kind of light, but like the vibration of lightness and like perfect love. It's not the kind of love that humans practice, because humans are often opportunistic with their love, and they demand something in return. And it's, instead of saying I love you very much, it's more like I trade you very much. Um, but no, you go home and it's love, and it's like you remember being there, and it's hard to separate and come back out and then go and do something else, because you just want to stay merged. But that's the essence of source, is that, yeah, you can join it for a time and get renewed and um refreshed and have your batteries charged, all that kind of stuff. But at some point you're going to have to go back out, because that's how source grows. It comes to know itself by the parts of itself that are surrendering to the illusion and coming down to physicality. And it's not just third density physicality. There's 12 creative densities, and you can incarnate on any one of them after you've mastered each of them. And I'm not going to sound egotistical, but I have mastered all of them, and I have come back to help with the evolution of humanity. When you can say that confidently because you've lived through it, you'll know it to be true. And also, listen, I'm not putting on a big fucking circus act by sharing that information with you. I was talking to Steven about it, and he goes, Alex, that's my name. You say that you have relations with ETs just the same way that you'd say, like, hey, I'm going to the store. Do you need a pack of smokes or something? And I said, yeah. I mean, that's just because it's normal. I know it's not normal for most people, but that's what's happened to me. It's like I said, I used to live in Texas, or I used to live in Florida. I was on a ship with ETs. That's, um, but a program like this and somebody like me, what I'm trying to do is demystify the mysterious, and just say, like, look, there are experiences that people talk nonstop about, like being on social media, or having sex, or like voting, or what's going on in Israel. And then there's shit that people just don't talk about a lot, like paranormal encounters and life beyond Earth, and what happens after death and things like that. There's things that people would like to know, but the thing is that there's no real authoritative sources, nor is there any agreed upon protocol, nor is there even like a general agreement about what a human being is and what our true history in fact is. We have like so many institutions convoluting to lie to us about our origins and our you know history and our potential, and what we're even capable of as a infleshed being. But listen, I'm telling you, if there are 12 creational densities and some of us have made it all the way there and back again, um, with our genetics and our spirit essences, we are literally capable of creating anything. And that's something that humans underappreciate, but it's something that fascinates the more evolved races, because they don't do things the same way. They use fields of projection to create tools, but then as soon as they're done with it, the tools go back into the potentia. And having something like a chair that just stays there and doesn't do anything and doesn't move and can last that 100 years, that fascinates them, just because it's not the way they do things. So yeah, light sparks. I like that. Let's see here. Jessica says, I keep having reoccurring dreams of a previous self who destroyed a lot of people's lives. That's not uncommon either. Listen, none of us are perfect, and the reality that we live in seems so real that, of course, it seems like the stakes are high. And especially like with how sensitive our bodies are, we can feel pain, we can feel empathy, we can feel all these different kinds of things when we do bad things to people, even if we're generally a good person. I've done bad things to people, even though I would call myself like evolved and spiritual. I've done some bad things to people. And it's not that I really meant to. It's just like as you grow, you're figuring shit out. And sometimes a consequence of figuring shit out is that you create pain. The thing is, though, once you become aware of how creation works, trying to use that ability to help uplift people. And one of the things I've always tried to do, like I'm in between jobs right now. I mentioned that I was in a bit of a financial uh, strait, right? And in fact, I'm uh, no matter what occupation I occupied, I tried to make sure that whatever I was doing was of benefit to humankind. Okay, I've had a lot of jobs. I'm a man of many skills, like a jack of all trades, but a master of none, right? In my times, I've been a phone person. I've worked at a cable company. I've been a plumber. I've been on construction sites. I've donated plasma, which is what I'm doing now. Um, I've trained and raised and taken care of dogs, and sort of same with the cats, but I'm more of a dog person. Like cats get kind of, it's like they know I can see them kind of thing, and they don't really know what to do with that. Um, but like I said before, typically if we're mostly a jerk or mostly like unaware or switched off for that life or whatever, because there are people. See, I've talked to Steven about that, and I would wager that some of you are very similar. But Steven does have like metaphysical gifts. You know, he's known that since he was a boy. And although he went and explored his talents in different ways than I did, we're fairly similar in that like our abilities manifested in our youth. And then we had some sort of like training environment. But whereas I was like self educated and kind of bounced ideas off of other sensitives, Stephen had covens that he could draw upon and traditions, you know. So some of the ways that he does things are structured and ritualistic, but they work for him, you know. Uh, but one of the things I said to him, especially in regards to his narcissist, you know, because he'll call me and confide in me. So I'm not going to say anything hyper specific, but what I said to him, and I said as much on the air, is that some spirits, when they find out that you're going to go in and incarnate, they get excited and they want to assist you. And depending on what you're trying to accomplish in that particular incarnation, some spirits will, for the sake of your evolution, voluntarily downgrade their energies and be a jerk to you in order to propel your own evolution. And in a strange way, that's how much they love you, that they would volunteer to become a jerk for you in your next life so that you can have something to transcend and someone to forgive. I think that there's a sort of a remarkable symmetry there. R says the Savage Dictionary. Yeah, I'm making up new words left and right. You know, I'll tell you guys a funny story, and it doesn't really have anything to do with the Savage shit. But when I was in my 20s, I had an idea to write a book, and I ended up self-publishing that book. I'm not certain if it's still available. I'll have to check into that. But it was a book called 72 Treatises, or that's what it ended up becoming. While I was in the process of writing it, I was, and this is back in like 2005, 2006. Self-publication tools are widely available now, but back then, that shit was still in its infancy. And the best that I could find were a couple of print-on-demand books. But the thing was that I was trying to use 2 different colors of ink because there were ideas that needed to be emphasized, so I wanted them to be in red, and then most of the other ideas were gonna be presented in black. And I ended up abandoning that idea because, like I said, the publication tools were not as developed as they are today. Um, and they didn't really have websites, so I ended up calling up this company, and it had some like generic name like America's Publishers or something like that. And I shit you guys not, the first thing that I said to these people was, "Hi, my name is blah blah blah, and I am interested in publication." And I immediately, it was a face palm moment. Like I wanted to slap myself. I was like, I'm sitting here purporting myself to be an author and I use a word like publication. What in the fucking fuck? Yeah, let's give this guy a book deal. He's so well spoken. Shit. So yeah, the Savage Dictionary. I'm making up new words all the time. Oh wow, Jessica's sharing about her past life. Her name was Yoshiko Kawashima. She turned out to be the ultimate traitor to her own kind. I'd be interested in hearing more, Jessica. And you can always DM me on Twitter if you don't want to share it out in public. That's interesting. That's interesting. I wonder how many times you've been an Asian person. Deborah says, "Yikes, that's a scary dream." I love it when you guys talk to each other. I got 10 people in the chat. Remember to hit like and subscribe, share the stream out. Drop me a comment after the stream is finished. If the mods can throw out that PayPal again, it is my birthday. Happy birthday to me. It's officially 12:08 over here in Seattle, so it's my birthday. I'm not monetized, so if you guys care to drop some coin, my PayPal's in the chat out there somewhere. I'm also doing palmistry apparently for $20 a person. DM me on Twitter for details, or you can just ask Jillian if she's still kind of around in the chat. Jessica, she was literally raised to be the ultimate traitor. She actually exists too. That was her actual name in World War II. That kind of thing is fairly common. And sometimes it even makes it to media where like young children, especially when they're like 3, 4, 5, they talk about their past lives, and sometimes they're hyper specific. They have names. And in some instances, I saw this documentary, and I want to say it was around the time I was seeking out publication. It was about this kid who he remembers dying in World War II on a Navy ship. And he actually remembered the name of his vessel, which they were able to verify. And he remembered his own name, which they were also able to identify. Name, rank, all that kind of stuff. But the real fucking kicker of it was that he remembered people in his unit, and some of those people survived. He obviously did not, and were still living at the time. Now, World War II vets, their herd is thinning out. I mean, it's 2024. That was in 1945, so I'd be surprised if there's any living World War II people. And if you guys know of one or are one listening, God bless you. Thank you for your sacrifice. You changed the world. But there was a survivor, and the kid was able to go and meet him. and it was emotional and all that kind of stuff. And then, after the meeting, his memory started to fade. Now, sometimes you get to retain them, and sometimes it interferes with your current physical incarnation. But if part of what this kid was about was just raising awareness that life after death is a thing, and that we're not destroyed, and we don't go to hell, and we don't, we're not sitting around on a cloud playing harps all the time, that we actually do something, and that we're about experience. Because I mean, like, look, if you live 80 years, how are you going to learn everything there is to know about life and the universe from just one incarnation? And what if you were a dumbass? Or what if you were mentally challenged or like physically deformed? You only get one shot? Fuck no. No. Fuck no. You get all the chances you want. Hell, there were people that I convinced to incarnate this time that didn't want to come because they know how fucked up Earth is. But I was like, hey, I'll be down there. You won't be alone. And then when we meet, we can do X, Y, and Z together. Okay. Because it's you, because I love you, that kind of thing. Just because I just hope that I won't have to be betrayed like that in return. Oh shit, you guys. Hang on a sec. I got somebody who you guys might be interested in hearing from. Joining me is my esteemed co-host, he who has helped sanctify the entirety of the realm, not just another tickly whisker, but the whole of the dragon. The gentle rap, rap, rap upon thy chamber door, the incessant whisper which dominates your destiny, the next notch upon your bedpost, finger of Tehuti, architect of life, author Stephen motherfucking Walton.
I don't even understand what that last one was. I know I want to get the fuck out of here. How do you get the fuck out of here? I don't want to be here anymore.
I know what you mean, dude. Thank you
if I bang extraterrestrial broads, can I get out of here faster? If I stab them with my little fleshy weenus. Hey, what is the Tehuti? What is the Tehuti? What is that? What the hell was that? I don't even understand that reference.
That's
happy birthday.
Thank you, sir. That's another name for Toth, by the way.
Son of a bitch. I don't have that. He's not on my avatar. I swear to God.
That's okay, brother. I understand if you can't. Yeah, if you can't like stand around a long time, I get it. If you just wanted to,
well, now I know on the back end of it, I would have fucking dipped out if I had been able to stay awake. But no, now that I slept 3 hours.
Right on, dude.
I'm good, brother.
We were actually joking about you in the chat here about is Steven asleep? Like, could we like attract his spirit somehow and get him to like, show up? And
you did, you motherfuckers. I was having a great dream. I was sleeping with 3 blondes. All of them had different personality disorders. None of them were narcs. It was a psycho and a borderline and a something else.
Well, that's what I started saying. I was like, if a sleeping Steven, is that a Pandora's box we even want to open? Like,
no, you don't want to open that shit. Can you imagine when I try and put my dick in when I'm awake? Are you out of your fucking mind?
Mm-hmm.
I put pictures out of Fallon today on fucking Dragonstorm, and like the first thing I got was like Angel and Drew or a couple other people going, watch it, be careful. I'm like, I know she's crazy. That's why I want to sleep with her. Don't warn me. I already know, dude. I'm the narc abuse channel from a fucking horrible relationship I went through. I know my choice in women sucks. All right, but they're fun. Let me have my fun. You don't want to enter my dreams. I'm a batshit crazy stupid fuck. Hi, everybody.
How's everybody doing? No, we've been talking about reincarnation and past lives. I was wondering if you have any specific memories of past lives that you'd care to share.
Oh my God, does this life count? Like, because I feel like I've died fucking 10 times at least.
Well, you did make some
Nicole,
big progress.
Michelle, Sarah, Kosh. Well, no, Kosh was a good one. I wish I could relive that one. God, Amanda was crazy. Amanda tried to kill me. It was the first woman I had to legit punch in the face. I didn't want to punch her in the face. Well, she took my glasses off my head and broke them, and then she wouldn't let me escape into my car. When a woman won't let you escape an abusive situation, you might have to punch a bitch in the face.
I get it. That's definitely an instance where I think violence would be warranted.
And that was the Amanda where I did that. The other Amanda beat my ass and put me in jail, and I didn't even touch her.
Yeah, some
and
women
the sex
are like
wasn't that good. Yeah, no. The only
it wasn't even that good.
It wasn't even that good. It wasn't that good. Listen, when you see a 90-pound, blue-eyed, black-haired girl down a bottle of E&J, get ready.
Yeah, she's
right.
She ain't gonna be right.
No, she wasn't right. No, she wasn't right. And thank God I got out of there before the cops understood who was right and who was wrong.
That's fucking crazy, man. So I don't know how much of the show you've caught, but we've
I didn't catch anything. I kept the last 5 minutes. You asked me about reincarnation, and the only thing that I can tell you, is that I have not I've not been very successful at regression. But I did have one vision. It was when I was with Akasha Ravenwolf, and she was good at scrying and regression. And I remember going off the side of a cliff in what I can only describe as it was like a wagon, 1800s, probably Western expansion era. I'm post Civil War, but apparently lost control of the horses, and we died together. We went over the side of a cliff, some kind of a cliff, something where the fall was great enough that we died together. Oh, wow. That's the only one I've ever been able to remember. Although I have gone to psychics for regression, and I know that the incarnation I am living in this life is because I was pampered in the last one, and I had a lot of money, and I was given things, and I didn't use my influence to build myself. I didn't have any hardships. I guess I chose an easy one last time.
Sure.
And not that I wasn't necessarily a dick, but I didn't do anything to better myself. And so this life, I said, give me a narc dad and a mom who's not going to be there, and then
some crazy bitches to play with.
Crazy bitches and a bunch of issues that I have to work out.
You know, and it's interesting that you bring that up. I often joke about having vacation lives sometimes. So you'll go through an intense life where you just grow and push and pain and misery and all that kind of shit. And then maybe you'll come back and have like a nice life where you just, you live on an island somewhere and the blowfish are in season, and
You know what, Coil? This next life, I'm going with you. I want to go to space. Fuck this shit. I'm done with Gaia. I'm done with everything happening here. I want to go somewhere where I have a nice long life with a healed people.
With a healed race, yes.
Listen, listen, this is very important to me, though. This is consider it base, but this is very important to me. Is there like an intergalactic group of like pot-smoking hippies who have orgies out there? It's like, because that's where I'd like to be.
I want to be born on the planet of naked women.
Yes. Yeah, no, and it can be naked dudes too. I don't want to plug them. I'm just saying, I want to fill souls and stuff holes intergalactically.
Well, who knows? I'll definitely take you up and show you around when our husks expire. But we might live long enough, man. We might be old men, but when they come back and start hanging out again, of course.
Listen, I don't want to live that long. I don't want to be a gray bush. Not on this planet. You
don't? All right. Well, I guess just promise me you won't haunt me when I'm taking a shit once you go. Okay.
That's not the time when I'm going to pop in on you. We already had this discussion. My best friend popped in when I was masturbating. And let me tell you something, guys.
What are you doing? What's going on?
You're yeah. What are you doing in my living room, buddy? What are you doing here? Like, who the fuck does that? That's my best friend trolled me from beyond the grave. What an asshole.
Dude, that should go in the book.
It's right. I want to put that in the epilogue.
dedicated to Joe, the fucking pervy ghost.
It wasn't even that. It was like, first off, like, are you jealous that I can still whack one off? Or like, is this an angelic thing?
Right.
Who does that?
He's like, I don't even have a penis anymore.
Like, when it was a look of shame, it made me feel shame. I couldn't finish Coil. I couldn't even finish masturbating. Like, it lost all consistency.
He gave you a heart off.
Yeah, he did. He gave me a ghost off.
Oh man. Let's see what the chat's saying. Mike says it's possible the ship had water holes. Oh, I missed something because he was making a joke. Here we go.
MC Mike.
Yeah, I was main engineer on Noah's ship in one of my past lives. I can tell you how the ship works. It levitates.
You fucked up, Mike.
Yeah. He says it uses wood to make static electricity. It's wood chip. It has an inner hole about 10 inches. Wood cylinders roll downward to make static ports open in the hole.
I feel Tesla staring at me in shame right now.
Right. You know, and it's weird because he spins this yarn a little bit, but like half of me wishes this is true, but I know Mike's just being silly. Highly polished wood cylinders, because Noah's Ark isn't what you think it was, man. His name wasn't even Noah. It was Utnapishtim. And
God bless you.
Anyway. Yeah, it sounds like that. But the flood story is just one of the oldest, like, archaic memories that exists in the human ego. So, you know, and it was funny, like in the Dragonstorm chat, I was like throwing out these old songs that this dude like plays on lutes and like lyres and harps and shit. And it was about shit like that, but like everybody was making fun of me because it was you know, it was an old guy singing about fucking Enkidu and Gilgamesh.
What's up, Lunar Eclipse out there? What's up, Lunar Eclipse? Holy shit. Hey, hail. And Jillian's throwing money at you. Listen, you need clips on this channel. Joe's throwing money at you. You have like a Magic Mike clip. I know and I'm not calling you gay. I'm just saying, like, you have something for Jillian. Well,
there you go. Is I don't have a laptop, so I can't like share screens and do shit like that anymore. I need to.
Can you share my screen?
I don't know. I don't think I can do that from a cell phone.
I know that you can from a cell phone. Hold on. I got you.
Okay.
MAG. You guys keep talking to the chat and stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I'm criminally undersubscribed and criminally underfunded. We're trying to change that around. I was telling everybody, Stephen, about how Jillian asked me to do like a palm reading for her, and she's like, how much would you charge for something like that? Because she was just like, listen, I'll send you some money. And I was like, I don't need you to send me money. And she's like, well, how about you do something for it then? Why don't you read my palms? Have you ever tried that? And I was like, well, I could, but I'm not like the best at it. And she's like, well, just try it. I'm going to send you some money. Send me some fucking palm shit. And I said, okay. She goes, it doesn't even have to be like right now. And I was like, okay. And then I sent it back to her like after I had consulted my reference materials, and she was like, holy shit, that's like crazy. And she's like, how come you don't like do this? And I was like, I don't know, I just never thought about it. And she's like, maybe float the idea out to the chat and see if somebody wants to do it. I said, okay. So
all right now go to
I see it.
God, yeah, there we go. Here you go. This is for Jillian and the ladies. This is for you.
White collar star Matt Bomer reprises his
Oh, it's words. There we go.
Bomer had already demonstrated his vocal abilities.
I thought it was just a clip.
God damn it, Steven, you're trying to get us copyright struck.
They're talking and shit. There you go. Bunch of fucking gay dudes being gay.
Yeah, it's a sword fight. What you guys used to say, tummy sticks?
I never played tummy sticks.
Nah.
Okay. And you don't want to read, and guys, ladies, you don't want to read my palms. Trust me. There's a lot of mileage in those palms.
Might be some hair to go through. Right?
There's no hair. I manscape first off, and listen, I was looking at the palm reading thing on Instagram, and it said if you're a good witch, if you're a shadow witch, if you're this witch, and I was like, all right, cool, I'll check this out because I'm into witchy shit. But let me tell you something. As a male witch, I prefer the term mage. A lot of that's bad. A lot of that's bad shit, and it's geared toward very hormonal ladies. So like, I never know if it's gonna work. But I looked, and it showed me the creases in the palm to tell if you're a good witch or a bad witch. And I have a ton of creases in my palm. I don't know if I'm special or if I'm special. I don't know what it is, but I couldn't figure out what I am. And you know what drives me batshit crazy? If I may go on a tangent for a minute. You know, we had that discussion about don't read cards on Narc-X, and then don't watch videos because you're gonna manifest type of videos you want to see. Yeah. Okay, I stopped, bro. I stopped watching all of them. I stopped watching all of them. And then I decided, like today, because I'm sitting around selling pot for 10 fucking hours, that I'm going to look at a few of them, right?
Oh, dude.
And I don't believe any of those bitches now. I don't believe any of them. And they're all geared toward women. Where are the psychics that are out there geared toward men? Where are the psychics?
I guess that's going to have to be us, buddy.
I don't want to do that. I don't want that fucking job. Are you kidding? I don't want that job. I need someone to help me figure me out.
Well, you can ask anytime, buddy. Let's open that fucking box, right? I dream walked you here.
I've opened it. Yeah, man. Sorry, chat. I don't want to open any more boxes.
All right.
The boxes that I open lead to personality disorders. All right, or me discovering that I have a couple, and I didn't like that.
I wouldn't mind eating some box, but
no, lunar eclipse. This is not. Listen, no, this is not right. I every time I watch one of these broads, and they're all cute. That's what sucks me in. God, pagan women, psychic women are so hot. I can't help it. It's. I don't want to say damage in their eyes, but let's be real. All of us that are a little witchy, we're all fucked up. But they're all geared toward women. It's like, see, he's that person. You know what they'll do? This is what they do, COIL. Your person is coming into your life, or your person is thinking about it. Your person, but they're all talking about dong. All of them are talking about dudes. Every last one.
Yep.
And I'm like, like. Tarot Mike. I think Tarot Mike has been the only dude that is like a dude that I trust when it comes to reading me. Well,
and we've talked about this, Stephen. Like most of the intuitives alive, a big majority are female.
Or female, yes, I know that's a natural part of it, right? I get it.
Right. So they're naturally more in tune and all that kind of stuff. It's harder for a male to become intuitive and psychic because it involves transcending your masculinity in a lot of ways.
I don't get that. I don't get that because I'm a son of the goddess. I'm a lunar man, and so are you. I've met them. Unfortunately, a lot of them are hey, but it's okay.
Yeah,
like I'm cool with that. We happen to be heterosexual.
Very heterosexual. Absolutely.
Listen, you hear me? So it's like very heterosexual. Like I challenge his birthday dong, ladies. He's full mast.
There you go. Well, but it's also one of those things, man. I think that part of what we're supposed to do is represent healthy masculinity and then the potential for metaphysical skill. And especially when we take this little show on the road, man, people are going to be able to like see it in person, and then they can, love us and touch us and hug us and kiss us and all that kind of stuff.
That's, I'm looking forward. I am looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I got empath overload today.
I bet.
Holy shit, did I get overloaded. It's been a long time since I've been in public or even cared. Well, it was at a club setting that we were in Baltimore. And it's one of my favorites. All right. I'm not kissing any ass. I'm not trying to be like progressive or any of that. Listen, the most fun I have ever had in clubs have been your quote unquote black clubs. All right.
Sure.
Black people. Black people have so much fucking fun, and they bring fun out of you.
Oh yeah.
And so that's where I was.
They love to laugh too, man.
They love it. Me and my son, with the exception of one big white bitch, which you expect to see in a black club.
Right.
Me and my son were the only rays of sunshine in the sea of dark clouds, and it was fun as fuck. And pardon my 1980s racist parlance.
No, dude, but if you show up and you're cool, I mean, you're accepted. It's not a big deal. You're not coming there as the white representative of,
Bro, you are talking to Coil, you were talking to a man who stepped into fucking Philly nightlife,
Right.
black club, wearing all white. I'm talking white shoes, white pants, white shirt, and a motherfucking white fedora. I walked up in that motherfucker.
Right.
Walton 10 years ago was a fun motherfucker. And
Right.
so, and how, but I love the energy, and like I said, I feel akin to, it's just, I've been black. I think I've been of some,
of course,
in some way, a lot of times in my past lives, because I just feel a kinship to like African magic, African lore. So
totally.
I'm hanging out there, and I hadn't been around, I hadn't been around people a lot because I've isolated after narc abuse. I've completely shut down, isolated.
Understandable.
But I'm getting an overload of everything.
Yeah.
From every direction tonight, dude. And it wiped me out. It really did. By the time I left that place, I was so like, I had picked up so many vibes off of so many different people that it drained me. As a psychic individual, it drains the shit. You're getting lathered in all of these different feelings and emotions and perspectives. But fortunately for me, a lot the energy there was nice. I didn't run but into one questionable person. And she may have been a he, but I was hanging out with a lesbian. I was hanging out with a lesbian who was really fucking cool.
Right.
Damo. Hail Damo. Good to meet you. And then she just like started making out with this chick out of nowhere. She had funny vibes. She had but this chick had funny whore vibes. And when I was sitting at the bar, because I was getting a drink, and she came up to me, I could feel the funny whore vibes, and I let it go. I actually ignored them. I was a good boy. I ignored them. Good. But then when she was outside talking with Damo, this chick just walks up and starts making out with her. And then Damo at the end, Damo says, "Are you trans? Tell me, girl, you trans?" That's right. And now she was questioning. Her gaydar was, her transdar was going off. And I said, I got to walk away. It is. I went inside. Listen, Donald caught up with me earlier. She was talking to one of the security dudes. And she was like, "Yo, Steve." And I was like, "Yo, what's going on?" And she said, "Didn't I ask if that girl was trans?" I said, "Yes, you did." "Did you see that 5 o'clock shadow?" I said, "I didn't at first, but your transdar hit it right off."
There you go, man.
Like, oh my God.
And it's funny, Stephen, we were talking earlier in the program about one of the reasons why I don't have a lot of friends is because a lot of the people out here, they have like that muggle monkey mind going on. So their thoughts are very uninteresting. And when you're getting, as an empath and as somebody who's psychic, when you're getting slammed with that shit like constantly, you almost want to like dim your antenna or like turn it off. And, you
definitely don't want to dip your antenna.
No. So, I mean, that's kind of what I was saying. Like, you're probably my closest friend. And then like the chat, but we all live like thousands of miles away from each other. So,
but we're all touching. But this is a spiritual reach. This is an astral reach around going on right here.
Reach around. It sure
is. You should go back to the chat. I've talked an awful lot. I'm sorry, guys. It came in like a storm.
No, it's cool. I kind of got the diatribe out of the way. So, you got on for the fun part, which is bullshitting with the chat. So Deborah says, would you like to get hypnotized again if a more open-minded person would hypnotize you? Yeah, I talked a little bit about that. I would prefer the next time I get hypnotized to work with somebody who is a little bit more metaphysically evolved. Because Stephen, you weren't here for this. I basically scared a hypnotherapist with one of my past lives because he was coming from like a Christian mindset, and the past life he asked me to go to was he's like, just pick a past life and go. And I picked an ET past life, and he like he freaked out. Like he basically was like he's like, okay, so I'm gonna leave you with access to your past lives. You can go back there anytime. You're in a meditative state. It was nice working with you. We should do this again sometime. And then like he he never called me back.
No, he's never gonna call you back. Are you kidding me? You took him to Alpha Centauri.
Oh yeah, dude.
What if he said just pick a past life and it was still talking to me and it was one where I was getting burned in Salem? I don't want that shit.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing is like he was expecting me to like turn into like a little Dutch girl and have like an accent
Happy
and all this
birthday,
kind of
COIL,
shit.
by the way.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate. Oh shit! Look at that. We got to see the bare man chest, the nipples of author Stephen Walton.
That's right. Legendary nipples.
That's right. You know, I was somewhat hoping to see nipples for my birthday, but I wasn't quite imagining seeing yours.
Bro, I mean, it's all nipples for Skirtless Walton is a tradition for birthdays. So here you go.
There you go. All right, ladies, you can find Steven tomorrow in person at the local fucking pot store.
If this works, I'll make like topless members videos. All right. I will bring a whole new term to member videos.
All right, Jessica, she was talking about one of her past lives. She had a name for it, and forgive me, I've forgotten it because it was a Japanese name. But she said that in her life she was a traitor, and she died like terribly, and nobody liked her, kind of shit. But it's the memories are coming back to her apparently in the form of reoccurring dreams, which is you know, and some of the chat has some interesting things to say about that. But as a dream walker yourself, Stephen, how would you recommend getting rid of disturbing dreams? You know, what's the way to balance this?
Face them. Well, in this case, there's a previous lesson. There is an overarching karmatic lesson that's something you did not learn in one life that you need to learn in this one, which is why those are coming back into your mind.
Yeah.
So understand, try and figure out what that is. But as far as getting rid of nightmares and negative dreams, let's see. I have nightmares about Narc-X to this day. When getting rid of negative meditation before you go to sleep helps.
Yeah,
it really does. And you have to face those things. What are you having nightmares about? What is it that's stressing you? What is it? Because sometimes your mind will translate. Translate your daily stresses into imagery when you go,
right.
You know, when you go into REM. So if it is that, then that's just you processing trauma, working through trauma. Go to therapy, talk to somebody, get it out of your system, write it down, keep a dream journal, meditation before you sleep. If you are dealing simply with dreams, if you're dealing with something otherworldly, then you have to take further steps than that.
Yeah. But essentially, once you've integrated whatever this past life was about, it'll eventually become another experience. And instead of it just, you know, it's kind of like how you think, you know, geez, when I was younger, I was a jerk, and I'm not a jerk anymore. So yeah, that happened, but I'm a different person now. The past life will become that to you. You know, yeah, maybe I was a traitor then, but I learned the value of loyalty and fidelity.
I mean, there could very well be, if it's not a lesson, a karmatic lesson you have to learn, it may be a reminder. There might be like a traitor in your midst. You also dealt with narcissistic abuse. So you dealt with them. I understand the level of manipulative, fucking maniacal, awful, soulless, demonic, Satan's taint piece of trash you dealt with. So, if that could also be like your warning bells, that could be past traumas, but it could also be your warning bells going off in your head. Or, you know, trying to alarm you to the potential of danger in the future. Or if you're still not done running through what had happened, if you're still going through the traumas, still healing from them, it could manifest that. But really, when you're dealing with a dream, especially when it comes from a past life regression that's coming back over and over again, that has to do with a karmatic lesson that you have not learned, or that you have not fully learned or integrated that lesson. And so you are currently facing it. Be aware of what you're dreaming. This is why dream journals are important, guys.
Yeah. We'll have to remember to time index that. It looks like Jessica's already like signed off for the night. So hopefully
that's fucked up. You let me talk for a half hour, and Jessica's like, I can't listen to Walton. I'm here for Coil.
Well,
Coil's the smart one.
I really dug what you had to say, and that might be the basis for like a channel engagement. If we can say like, hey, Jessica, check out time index.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we'll talk to her.
You know, yeah.
We'll talk to her tomorrow or the next day.
Yeah, she's usually here for most of the streams and Dragonstorm streams as well. So we'll definitely run into her again. Let's see here. Mike does. Hi, Coil. You mentioned once the meaning behind your handle, but is there a relation to the inductor when you say coil? I wasn't thinking about that type of coil. I was actually thinking about the double helix, the lattice, and it's a play on a couple of different kind of things. Like most people say, like this mortal coil of mine, or he gave up the ghost and left his mortal coil kind of thing. And I was thinking about how DNA truly is immortal. We're going to go on to most of us to become parents, and then our DNA lives on through our children. So there's a piece of me inside my daughter, and then when she has children, that piece will be transferred to her children, and so on and so forth. So in that way, we never die truly. But there's also
even if you're Cthulhu, like look at Octopus,
Yeah. Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, he's like the biggest, most pissed off Ood from Doctor Who.
Absolutely. Well, I was going into their genetic structure, which is entirely different from any other life form on the planet.
It is.
Not only is it entirely different, and there is no trace. We can trace our DNA back to trees. We have similar DNA to plants. That's how far back we can trace us. There is no tracing in octopi. There's no tracing them back. They are entirely of their own species. They were planted here by a fucking alien at some point in the past. They were like alien puppies. And not only that, but they are the only species on this planet which can rewrite their RNA. They can decide to change colors. They can decide to become resistant to whatever. They could decide if they wanted to start walking up on the motherfucking shore and then start breathing air at some point. Octopi are incredible extraterrestrial creatures that did not evolve here.
That's true. A lot of the life forms here were either brought here or engineered here, but existing somewhere else. Now, if you think like non-sapient octopi is smart, wait until you meet some of the aquatic races, man. Their brains are completely different than ours. And I
would
often
love to.
Yeah. Well, I've talked about it a couple times, how, our mammalian brains react different depending on what type of humanoid we're dealing with, and sometimes I've had very visceral reactions just like beholding someone's visage. It's, and it sucks because like the reaction you have is the reaction you have, but like I always get like, I'm sorry, that was impolite, and they go, well, we understand you're from a limited species who hasn't been in the galactic neighborhood for thousands of years, plus you're preconditioned, all this kind of shit, and it hits you like all at once too. So I get like this dictionary of a speech and like in a single second. It's fucking crazy.
It is over 100 new species were just discovered in the sea, by the way, off Chile, off the coast of Chile. So, I mean, like, it's amazing that we still haven't. I would love to meet some aquatic species because we are still discovering different types of coral, sea urchins, lobsters, and different things to this day. But I mean, just now, there's 1,000 new species. It was found.
Well, it's interesting, man. I've worked with quite a few different aquatic type species, and it's not like one of them actually did live in a liquid environment, and they had to like make this like liquid oxygen thing for me to breathe, which scared the shit out of me, but it worked. But then there's other ones that evolved in the oceans and then became bipedal and all that kind of stuff, and you can tell that they have like, I don't want to say dolphin-like, but you can tell that they came from the water versus something that's more reptilian or something that's more mammalian. The human race is mammalian, and except for the parts where hybrids have been created. So
narcissists.
Yeah, there you go. Deborah says he says you sexy intergalactic stud. Hey, that's Steven knows what's up. Plus, it's my birthday.
I feel his taint chakra is very strong, Deborah.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So Mike says, what's the deal with super chats? Do you know a certain number of subs? Yeah, so the YouTube program generally says you need 1,000 subs and 3,000 watch hours before you're eligible for monetization.
You only need 500. You need 500 subs.
Yeah, they switched it to 500.
It
wasn't that way always. When I first started, it had to be 1,000, and it was just like fucking impossible to do it unless you either made garbage content 3 times a day, every day.
Was it impossible to do when I pitched about Disney to 1,000?
No, and that's the thing though. I can't do that shit. That's not where my heart's at. This is where my heart's at. I can do this all day. But being a clone channel or being somebody who's just like doing trendy, sexy things to, because what's going to end up happening, you're going to form your core audience base based on the content that you create. And if you're creating something that's just like disposable or a trend, like I saw this trend that I thought was really cool, and it's called the drizzle. Have you heard of that, Steven?
Oh, I have.
Yeah, so it's basically like it's a comeback to modern feminism that's really just like misandry. But and it's cool and it's clever, but it's a trend. Eventually people are gonna say like, yeah, that was a good joke, and then they're gonna move on. And then all these drizzle people, they might still have some relevance if they shift around their topics, but you get famous for being one thing, and then when that thing's not in vogue anymore, they forget about you. So I'm choosing to speak about the eternal, which means that will never go out of
Does drizzle mean semen? Hold on, I'm looking it up now.
So there was this lady who
wet.
Yeah, there was this lady who she said sprinkle, and she was using her channel to teach women how to manipulate and exploit men for mostly financial gain.
Spread your legs.
Yeah. So
it's pretty
toxic femininity, if you will. And she would always sign off by saying drizzle. She's like, take that man's money, make him pay for you. Be a bitch, be mean, because men deserve mean women because they're just blah,
that's
blah.
Great. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm never going to get married. Awesome.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
So a lot of guys, they ended up saying the same things, except they replaced sprinkle with drizzle, but it's completely a joke. But they say it so like they put on such a good act that women are becoming offended by it. So essentially to rebut a drizzle argument is to rebut the sprinkle argument. And that's,
oh my God,
that's pretty genius. So
it is genius.
Yeah.
But can we all just be normal? Because I'd like to have a relationship.
That's what I'm saying. So like all these things are momentary fads, and truthfully, once the content creators mature themselves, they'll see how much time they wasted. But like, I don't want to sit around and talk about like earth shit. I understand things past this realm and past this culture, past this society that I think is vital for this phase in human evolution. And I don't see anybody else talking about it, or the people that I used to listen to that talked about that, they're like 90 years old now, so it's time for the new generation to step up.
It's becoming it's becoming kind of a dying topic. And that is because of the subjugation of our media. And bringing them all into the fold of repeating the same messaging, which is, the top 13 does not want us to reach a point of enlightenment. And that's why we get inundated with this garbage, just garbage topics. It seems like we keep the system, and by the system, I mean the draconians who run our banking systems and our media and our politics and our entertainments. It seems every time that we hit this a next level, like when the internet first became publicly available. Internet's been around since the late 60s. When it first came publicly available in the 90s, so to speak, although I was a lucky enough nerd who had a stepmom who was a nerd, so I had it in the 80s.
Ooh,
but the internet in the 80s was in the 90s, the early 90s up to like 96, 97 was free range. You could get any information off of it. It was a wonderful exchange, open exchange between people across the world.
Took like 10 minutes to download one nude pic.
It did take that long, but you could also get the Anarchist Cookbook if you waited that hour. But you could get the information about different perspectives, enlightenment, ancient knowledge. What happened as soon as Google got a hold of that shit? What happened as soon as and let's not forget Bush's and the Homeland Security and how they built that monstrous castle out there in California to, control the flow of information on the internet, which Obama, the great, what the fuck, the hope guy, came
Nobel
along.
Prize laureate.
Yeah, right. So the Obama and his husband came along, and also created more restrictions, and not only that, but used it to create confusion. And then here we are in the 2010s and into now. But every time we get to a point where we are ready to hit that next level where people are coming together and bonding, you see the system push back and suppress information, limit it, throw out disinformation. It's one of the pushbacks. I mean, sorry to take it back to where we came from, the Phantom Menace, but take it back to the Phantom Menace for a minute. The Phantom Menace was a pushback to our entertainments being used as platforms to espouse segregation, racism, hatred, sexism, under the guise of fighting it by people in Hollywood. And it was a great explosion. It was of free voices fighting against the system, fighting against the man. Didn't matter if it came from a conservative lean or wherever, because all of us nerds came together from all walks of life in order to fight this thing. And then what eventually happened? The influence of toxic people, along with the constant bombardment from major media and other influences, destroyed that grassroots backlash.
Yep.
And so here we are again, where it's like we're 2 steps back. Now we got to try and get a step forward again.
Yeah. Well, we're just not going to let that fly, man. And I think the format that you and I have devised is unique because it touches so many different aspects of life that it's never going to be not relevant.
We are all about touching.
Yeah, we're all about touching one another, sharing our
each other, hugging, man
people.
hugging.
Yeah.
Yes, astral reach arounds. The train wreck express is coming through, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right. Coming to your house.
Jump on, choo choo. Sleeping on your couch.
Eating your food.
Eating your food.
We got Snowdub in the house. What's up? Where's Walton? Yeah. We had to yank him out of his dream walking self.
Walton was selling drugs in Baltimore illegally.
Yeah.
And hanging out with the black people and watching lesbians and possible trannies make out.
There you go.
I was doing my thing.
Walton's a friend of the blacks.
That's how I brought in the tourist season, bro.
That's how
I brought in tourist season.
There you go.
What's up, Snow? I called a little bit of the show earlier. Guys, please check out Snowdub Music and Entertainment.
Yep.
And the beautiful Piper, the beautiful crazy batshit.
Yeah.
Definitely something wrong in her head and hot. Watch she does it, Piper.
Oh yeah. You get her drinking a little bit and she'll dance for you. But yeah, Snowdub, Jim Henson's middle finger, Hill Trans Fat, puts on a great show. We were on his program last weekend, and apparently it was his most watched program ever. We had some
because us crazy fucks were on.
There you go. We did some shenanigans. I had this character that I put on, and then Walton's just being his charming, handsome self.
I am a character.
He is his own character.
Thank you for putting it that. Yeah, thank you for putting it that way. No, I'm batshit crazy. People, what is Walton going to say this week? That's what. Whenever I go back home to the old indie sphere, that's what they go. What is Walton going to say this week?
Oh, totally. But Snowdub basically runs like the modern Muppet Show. His show is a direct descendant of that. It's adult orientated, so we swear, but it sounds kind of weird to say like, hey, check out this guy's puppet show, but it is a great show. And Snowdub,
there be hoes in that house.
There
all
be
right, guys.
hoes in that house.
The booty breaks are totally worth it.
Oh yeah. And Snowdub, just as a man, I've known him just about as long as I've known Walton, and he's one of these guys that he can have a temper at times, but he's never faltered in his character, and I've never seen him contradict himself ever. So
you know what you're getting. You know what you're getting, Corey.
Yeah. So hell, our brother. Thanks for coming by,
brother.
man. Let's see here. Let's see. Lunar eclipse paranormal. You need 2,000 watch hours, and you can get monetized 1,000 people.
No, you can get monetized with 500. You can get half the time. You can get half monetization at 500. COIL.
Yeah, she says. I think they lowered the people subs you need, but it's half for Verifit or something like that. Don't quote me on that. Yeah, and I'm working on it. So I mean, making appearances in Dragon Core and on like Sporkin News podcast and Snowdub's channel, that's helped boost some of the subs. So I'm over the sub count I need. I just need the watch hours to come up. So that's usually part of the show. I say like, hey, open up a tab. Just I created
watch this over and over again, guys.
There you go.
Watch this. All right. This is what you're gonna get: shirtless Walton every week.
Holy
You're
shit!
hiding my nipples. Hiding my nipples.
I am. That's a strategically placed chat right there. Yeah. There we go.
There you go. There you go.
There you go.
Dragon titty. Watch that over and over again. If any of you ladies are out there flicking your bean right now, I feel bad for you, but I'm also very amused. Thank you very much.
Ladonis dragon tits, everybody. All right.
Dragon tits.
I'm the astrocock. He is the dragon tits. Good to know. Good to know, buddy. Let's see. Steven's in the chat saying happy birthday. I appreciate that, sir. Let's also not forget it's Professor Vaknan's birthday too. He has a Twitter account. You guys should go over there and tell him happy birthday and tell him that we sent you. He was Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry to keep interrupting you, and I'm so sorry.
You're good. I was just gonna say he's a stand-up man. He shared out our stream when he didn't have to. I suspect partly because it was like him, but I would like to think he actually enjoyed the content. So
I hope he did, because we were complete fucking buffoons. I actually looked back at that stream and I was like, I see why he timestamped it at 24 minutes. I was like, before that, we were going the fuck ape shit. But it's also our Aries Taurus brother Cuss. There be rogues here. ETEP with Kui in the place to be.
There he is. Yep.
Dude, I came through. I actually went to one of the ETEP shows the other night. I was in the chat, but because I miss those guys. I miss Chris Fisk. Mm-hmm. He's a wonderful artist. Infinitail Chronicles, guys. Just wonderful artist, great storyteller, good dude.
Oh yeah.
His nuts have been chemically severed because he's been fighting cancer on and off. Well, he's been fighting cancer on and off for like 15 years, and so all of the chemicals and all of the radiation he's had to do basically has made his nuts like steel wool, right? Like his balls. He has no sexual attraction. And so I was talking with Chris one time,
I can't
and I
said, imagine that.
No, I can, because you know what? That boy's enlightened. I asked Chris, I was like, what's it like to not be attracted to women? And he said, well, since I haven't had care about sex, I find women to be the most despicable creatures on this planet.
Holy shit.
Like, really, Chris? He said, yeah, they're all catty and talk shit about one another and constantly stabbing each other, and they're all about bullshit. Like,
oh, man.
That's... So, gentlemen,
he's not talking about any of the ladies in this chat, though. You guys are cool.
No, of course, nobody. No, nobody here. But I was just like, that's what happens when your nuts get cut off. Like, I mean, well, chemically or whatever.
Yeah.
But Chris is one of the most intelligent, wonderful people over there. And Vinny, and even though Vinny and I don't talk no more, I love hearing Vinny. I miss his humor. I miss the way that he jokes, he's not a dumb dude. He's a funny guy. He's been in the industry a long time. You just have to pole vault that fucking ego he's got. But and whatever. But as soon as I came in the chat, fucking ETEP was like, "Yo, Walton, there be rogues here." It's the first thing he did, Cole. And I was like, oh, it got my fifis real quick. I was like, oh.
Made you moist.
So, it did. That was a reach around. That was a terrestrial reach around. But his birthday was just on. He's an Aries Taurus cusp, and so his birthday just passed too. Guys, please subscribe to Eats Up Cooley and the place to be reviews.
There we go. And then the chat, of course, is reacting to Walton. Hey, Walton, look who.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Look who pooped in.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I actually set my alarm, and I woke up like quarter after the hour when it started. And I was like, I can get 5 more minutes. 5 more minutes. I hit the 5 more minutes button, and the 5 more minutes button became an hour later button.
I've done that before. I get it. And you guys, Walton's a true soldier. I mean, this is a late night program. Mm-hmm. I originally had it at this hour because I was working a different job, and I had to get off that job and then come home, and the only time to stream was like super late at night. But you know, ever since and I created a new playlist called Modern Savage Spirituality. It has every appearance of my show that Walton's been on, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Thank God.
Yeah, but I mean, he's been right there with me since I started ramping this thing up again. You know,
I would like to, and I would like to say thank you to everyone out there who turned on, doesn't like me. We'll just put it that way, and hasn't ostracized Immortal Coil for still working with me.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being that beneficial and understanding that we can have friends.
Yeah. Well, you know, and a couple of those individuals have reached out and like interacted with me on social media, and nobody says anything about Walton. Everybody's just cool as fuck. And
that's because my channel's bigger than all of theirs now.
Well, we get that, but I would also
somebody backed the wrong horse. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What I was
the ego back.
What I was gonna say is I would like to think that I'm a good enough judge of character that they see that I actually influenced you to be better rather than you influenced me to be worse, you know, in their theory, you know.
Oh, Mike's going to bed. Say goodnight to Mike.
Okay. Good night, Mike. I can't find you in the chat.
He's 58 after the hour.
Okay. Yeah, I'm still like working on like the previous hours.
I'm still in my fifis about the people that abandoned me when I was going through narcissistic abuse. And then I went, you know, and I was fighting for my life, and I was, you know, suicidal, and I was fighting against smear campaigns all across Comicsgate and all over the place. And then I found out some of my friends were never my friends and backstabbed me and took advantage of the entire situation. And I had to build Dragonstorm on my own island away from all of the people that I helped to fucking build and all the channels that I helped to get monetized. So I'm a little still in my fifis about the smear campaigns that happened from people who were supporting me for years and then up and decided I was a piece of shit because I was getting abused. But I'd like to thank everyone for not backing away from Immortal Coil, who is a great, wonderful person who stuck with me. Thank you for not allowing your fifis to affect his judgment or your judgment of him.
I appreciate that too, man. And I know, like, you know, it's just one of those things. People gravitate to who they gravitate to. I knew from the first time I saw you on Geeks and Gamers, number one, that you had potential, but like number two, we would work together in some capacity. Now I didn't have.
Be fair,
yeah, go ahead.
To be fair, when Scotty was on my channel last week, we talked a little bit after the show. And I asked him, because Scott was there with us from the beginning, you know.
Yep.
And I asked him, I said, was it the smear campaigns at Comicsgate that got me? Like, what was it that got me, that got everybody to just leave my side? And he said, it was the choices you made in your behavior. And like, if it comes down to that, I understand. Like, if that was actually it, like, then I do understand, because I was fighting heinous fucking smear campaigns, and I was I was abused, man. I was going through CPTSD, you know. So like, I get that from certain people, but at some point, like, I hope that I have returned to form enough. And I'm not asking anybody back in my life. I'll do this shit on my own. I have no problem doing this on my own, but I hope that at some point I have proven myself enough through consistency and hard work that I am who I always said I was, you know? And I'm glad that people don't get punished.
Well, and there's no reason to. I think my character is evident.
Yes, sir.
No matter what I do, and I wouldn't fuck with somebody who I knew was a toxic narcissist, fucking piece of shit asshole or whatever. I know.
One man show. I did care what other people thought for a long time. I did care what other people thought for a long time until a lot of the people that I helped to be, one man shows one of old school. He knows. When I helped sell comics and build channels and build networks, when I used my friendships with Geeks and Gamers and Nerdrotic and World Class and Midnight's Edge and Doomcock and many others in order to elevate the people that I called friends, and then I watched them all flutter away, but not the ones that just fluttered away from me. I get it when I'm self-destructing and I'm being targeted for fucking abuse and harassment. Like, okay, whatever. What really got me, what really hurts me are the ones that I loved. The people that I actually really loved and helped to build, that turned their back on me and then started smearing my name and creating their own little anti-Walton fucking networks. That's what really, I still got something in my craw about that, but I'm going to continue to succeed and elevate, and I'm going to continue to grow Dragonstorm. And when I get volume 2 out, I'm going to continue to grow Author Stephen Walton channel, and I'm going to blow past all those motherfuckers. And it's not going to be for the sake of blowing past them. It's going to be for the sake of doing what I can always do. Steve Walton succeeds. Steve Walton knows how to get things done. Steve Walton is real. And unfortunately, we live in a culture that supports narcissistic ideology. We live in a culture that supports bad behavior. And so someone who is real, someone like Immortal Coil, someone like Spork and Loose Podcast, that does not get rewarded. Being real does not get, being fake, being hateful, doing drama streams, gathering people to come after you. That's what gets you to succeed. That's why I say fuck Comicsgate.
Or you got to run like a Mr. Beast kind of shenanigans, and I mean,
right. And I mean, Mr. Beast is this thing, though. He's successful. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Sorry, I went low vibration there. Bring me back up, Coil.
That's all right. Let's head back to the chat. Leonard Clips says he is gifted. Yes, I picked that both off of you. Are his stronger, but both you are. So I was talking about how we both manifested metaphysical talents when we were young, and that we trained ourselves through different methods. And even though you had more of like a traditional kind of pagan thing going on, I had to largely self-teach myself. We ended up coming to basically the same knowledge base, but through different methods. And then we've also had remarkably similar lives.
We have. And one of the things that I enjoy working about with you is that you come from a celestial, you come from like a celestial point of view. Whereas I've taken a very earthy, God, Lord and Lady worshiping, pagan route.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is due to, again, the part of my namesake, my ex-wife, Akasha.
Mm-hmm.
And the coven that she introduced me to in Philadelphia, the temple that was there, the Church of the Three Witches, and all of the wonderful, the diverse types of practitioners there that I studied with for years.
Yeah.
Very Gaia-based knowledge. But again, we come to the same point because my experiences, though, led me through a terrestrial, I don't want to say muddy, but light and dark. I'm a creature of light and dark.
Sure.
But coming to meet you through your terrestrial experience, being as where your soul came from.
Mm-hmm.
We're here to teach one another. I think I'm here to help you kind of get through the landmines of Earth.
Yeah.
And I think you're here to help me elevate to that next level that I need to be at.
Oh, totally.
I'm I'm so thankful for it, man. Thankful for you.
And I'm grateful that I have someone in my life who truly sees me and not just like the husk of a man I appear to be. Because I've gone on camera before, but I basically look like a long-haired grunge dude with like gray in my whiskers now.
You're sexy, Coil. Embrace it, you Taurus.
Another year of long dong energy, right?
Yeah, dude. And that's right. The astral stroke is lean, mean, and is punching through anything. It's strange. One of the things that I have experienced being your friend that I have not either been open enough to understand or interpret, or I've just not had in my life, is meeting someone whose spirit is not based on this earth. And so the way that you see things when it comes to when it comes to the abuses that I went through in the recovery and the healing journey I'm still going through, but I have been, is that you bring me consistently up to that higher vibrational, you bring me consistently up to that level that sees things from a viewpoint that is more collectivist, or, and as far as our spiritual, in the spiritual sense.
Well, yeah.
And that helps me a lot, because I can easily be dug down into like the naysaying or the he said, she said, or caring about what, certain people think.
Sure. Well,
when I shouldn't.
We as a race, for at least the past 8,000 years, have been like severely fucked with. And I was touching on this earlier in the stream, but like the governmental, like the political, the economic, the religious programming,
and all that shit pisses me off.
Oh yeah, I get it. And it's especially like when you have some amount of awareness and you can, like I'll call these like different levels. Like your level 1 is when you notice like something's just not right. Like there's government conspiracies and you're watching the news and you're just like, that's fucked up. That's bullshit. And you're just really carrying on a surface level. But then when we get to the point where we don't even have a clear definition of what a human is, Stephen. And then we can't agree on.
A human has no gender.
Right. And then there's like 97 different genders and, no, there's 2 genders and like 97 forms of mental dysphoria. But then
the beauty of the differences.
Yeah, definitely. And that's not what I'm saying. You can choose to express yourself however the fuck you want. You just don't have a right to angrily proselytize and try to get me to change how I am because you decided to change how you are. That's your right as a human being, and I have my right as a human being as well. But we also can't agree on what our history actually is. And as soon as somebody with a bigger gun comes along, they try to tell you that the history is different.
One thing that we have to learn as a species is that the people at the top are too egotistical. Most of them, I'm not going to say all, but most are too egotistical to admit that they're wrong. And that in and of itself is a toxic trait, born of one of several different behavioral disorders. But it's also we know there's so much knowledge out there. We know the Illuminati exists.
Mm-hmm.
We know that they fucking exist. There's too much proof. Too much has come out. What?
They laugh and wave it in our face.
How many more? Right, they fucking do. Look at Taylor Swift throwing satanic fucking symbolism.
Yep.
Out at the fucking Super Bowl, for fuck's sake.
Yep.
We know they exist, and they use their weight in the media to confuse us and divide us.
Right.
We allow these charlatans to dictate the vision or the revision of what our history is, which is much more grand and long than we have been told. That's openly. Right. And until we understand that we are one love, we are one community. It doesn't matter where you come from, how you speak, doesn't matter how you pray, it does not matter your culture. We are one human race. And until we come together as a group and deny this fuckery from our governments, we've got a dude who's literally, the evidence is out there, stole an election in the West, is a retard who visited an island of pedos several times. Yeah. Why is that man not in jail? God. And I'm not saying there's many political stance. If that was Donald Trump or a Republican or something in the White House, I would say the same shit.
Same shit, yeah.
But it's not. Sleepy Joe was out there whipping kids. It was on Hunter's laptop. I don't know how far we want to get into that, but it was there. The information exists that these sick fucks run our media, run our governments, run our capitalism. They run these things, these institutions, and they are blinding us from the truth. You look at that asshole, what's his name? Zagagaway, the Egyptian, the Egyptologist.
Yeah.
What the hell's his name? That guy.
Yeah.
Hawass. Motherfucker, shut the fuck up. There are 12 levels underneath Gaza, caves underneath Gaza alone that we have been allowed to be told about. Where's the Emerald Tablets? What was underneath the Sphinx? Please tell us about the room that is protected by an energy field underneath the Great Pyramid at Giza.
Yep.
There is knowledge out there that is being suppressed from us, held back from us, that would show us that our histories are tens of thousands of years longer than we have been allowed to believe, because that knowledge would lead us to a higher enlightenment and understanding that we are one race.
That's right.
And that our collective efforts holds power. We are not different. We are not separate. We are the same. It is only people that are in power. It is only psychopathic, narcissistic, egotistical, megalomaniac pieces of shit who want to maintain control over us that allow these divisions or perpetuate these divisions, the illusion of these divisions. And that shit pisses me off on a terrestrial level. Like I'm a son of Gaia.
Yeah.
You know, like this pisses me off because the innate knowledge is within us, is within our souls. We know this. That's why we have compassion and kindness toward one another. That's why we empaths exist. Right. This is why we, this is the sole crux to every issue we are dealing with at this moment. And as long as we allow these Luciferian, evil, child peddling, lying, manipulative, megalomaniac pieces of shit to run our information and our countries, we will not be free and we will not reach our full potential as a race.
That's right.
I'm off the soapbox. Sorry.
Well said, man. No, everything you said was like spot on. Once all this stuff comes out, there's going to be massive anger because the truth about us is going to refute the need for religion. It's going to refute the need for money because we have enough resources to actually.
We don't need it, right?
We don't. That's a control. It's a collar around your fucking neck. You know, I'm suffering because of that right now. Right the fuck now.
Tesla, 100 years ago, showed us we could have free energy, something the ancients knew. Twice in the last century, we have been shown that fucking tap water can run electricity, can generate power. Where's that information?
Guess what we're mostly made out of?
Exactly. And water is right. And water, what constitutes, reflects, embraces, and projects energy through emotion. This is why controlling your fifis is very important, because you are how you think. Tests have been shown. Thank God for the Japanese. Forgive me, I can't remember the name of the scientist, but he showed. Dr. Emoto, thank you very much, showed indisputably that if you have concentrated meditators who are projecting certain types of emotional vibration at water, and then you freeze it, the crystals themselves in that frozen water are vastly different and display the changes from happiness, joy, love, anger, fear, depression. Yeah. Like this is knowledge we should all possess. Why are we not teaching this in schools? Why are we not reaching another level of human experience? It is because of the fucking draconians who are peddling kids and praying to owls and trying to maintain control and power through finances and shit that we don't need anymore.
Totally. Well, that's why it's good that there's a show like this out there where we can talk about these things. And you know, share out the link. I see that there were 13 of you guys. Like, subscribe, ding the bell, all that kind of shit. Get the message out. You get
shirtless, there. And you get shirtless Walton tonight. We're spitting naked truth. Walton. We got this today. That's right. Me and my big black Mike. See this?
Big Mike. All right, back to the chat.
We're getting the quarter test.
We got Mike saying, COIL have a way of explaining things. Decided we must have
chose to live and die. And then he says, I feel like we don't have that choice to live and die, but we have all the choice in between live and die. Interesting perspective. I mean, that's if that's how you believe and that's how it will seem to you, but we do have our entry and exit points kind of pre-planned. I'm not saying that accidents can't happen, but there's more design to your life than makes sense to the monkey mind. And I guess when you die, you'll understand. That sounds like Worf, doesn't it? When you die, you will understand.
You will understand. That's in light. That's Picard season 3, Worf.
There you go. Yeah. You know, one of my favorite Star Trek things that I've ever seen is when Q's kicked out of the continuum and he becomes human. And Q's like, how can I prove to you that I'm mortal? And Worf goes, die. I love that.
Worf, dude. I love it.
What would Worf do?
What would Worf do? Worf, one of the things I love about Michael Dorn, that character, is he was the worst father. He's a bad father.
Mm-hmm.
But that dad would kill somebody. If somebody fucked with Alexander, he would kill them.
Totally.
Yeah.
You know, I felt kind of bad that they made Alexander into such a pussy, but you know, it was a plot device.
In DS9?
Yeah.
In DS9? Yeah, well, that's because he fucking Worf. He's like, I want you to be a warrior. And then he sends him back to mom and dad. Mom and dad are elderly. They can't raise, you know what I mean? First off, Worf's a Russian, by the way.
Right.
Where should I move to? Minsk. Move to Minsk. You know what I mean? Worf's a Russian.
The least Klingon place on the planet.
Right, bro, right. You know what I mean? Drinking his prune juice.
Right.
But
sit on the deck in the rocking chair.
No, Alexander has mommy and daddy issues.
Yes, he
does. You know what I
does.
mean? Like when you look at that character, if Kalar had been able to raise Alexander, he would have been oh God, she was so hot.
Yeah,
he would. I love strong women. Please step on my chest and tell me what a piece of shit I am. But if she had been able to raise him, then he would have been strong. He would have been a formidable, quarter human, 3/4 Klingon, representative of both races. You know what I mean? Because Kalar was a half breed. And honestly, I think that if Kalar had existed, that family unit would have kept going.
Oh yeah, I mean, she was about ready to take the oath and all that kind of shit.
Yeah, she's ready to marry. She's like, I don't give a fuck about Klingon law. Fuck Klingon law.
Duras was a fucking piece of shit, and I'm glad Worf stuck his bat'leth in the guy's trachea. You know, that's what he deserved. What?
And I just watched that episode where Kalar died and all that happened. Yes, man. I did. And I'm looking at that. I'm looking at that scene, and we've got like Duras, and you've got
Galron.
Galron sitting in the both fighting for the seat of the Klingon High Council, and I'm sitting there looking at Worf, and I'm like, Worf has murdered 2/3 of this room by the end of Star Trek.
Yep, he sure fucking did. He sure fucking did. And then if you guys haven't seen season 3 of Picard, fuck the first 2 seasons. Season 3, Worf is like on fucking point.
Yes, he grew up. Man. Worf stopped having sex, stopped getting married, and grew up.
Yeah, he sure did.
Worf went MGTOW, and he's at peace.
I like this. Mike says, life must have something really cool that we seem to be missing. And yeah, there are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy. Absolutely. Let's see here. Man, and I'm still like an hour behind on the chat.
Well, just like when I do that, I just speed up. I just speed up to like 10 minutes beforehand.
So it says
I have to do that.
Lunar says, I have had like a dream walking into my past lives, a couple of them, and the women that I'm friends with, or that's in my life, we knew each other in past life, sisters and cousins. That actually happens quite a bit. Immediate family will swap around roles, and like sometimes the parents will become the kids. Sometimes you'll be married to like your dad or your mom in a different life, shit like that. Like interesting family dynamics, because spirit is interested in looking at the same thing from every possible facet. And sometimes you need to be in a specific role or dynamic in order for the group as a whole to evolve and mature. I mean, we've all had those people in our lives that we know that we've known them before, you know, and usually it manifests as like a odd feeling, and it's kind of deja vu-ish, but a little bit different. It's because you're recognizing people on a soul level. You know, I keep on saying this. I watched a Geeks and Gamers video with Steven in it, and I just knew that I knew that guy. And I was like, I don't know how, but like, you know, I know that guy. It's because we have a spiritual pact. We have important work to do here on this planet. We are going to come to your town and sleep on your couch.
Yes, we are.
Eat your food.
Yes, we are.
And we need his channel. We need Dragonstorm to get to 50K subs. So you guys do what you do. And
that's right. Two completely deranged men. All right, it's not deranged. I'm sorry, not deranged, but damaged. Two damaged men convincing you of your worth. The Trainwreck Express coming through. We're gonna tell you the art of the middle finger boundaries. All right, because I'm testing them out right now, and the art of savage spirituality. And the after party is going to be where it's at, ladies. I'm just saying, guys, come hang out because you might get laid. Well, I'm not saying I'm going out there to pick up damaged chicks. All right, post-abusal chicks. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is that I am here as a tool, as a meat stick.
He's like, I'm not going out there to do that, but if it happens, then
if it happens, it happens.
So
if you want to use Walton, let's be real, girl. We know we've been through it,
ladies. So.
We already know crazy makes good sex, so let's have some good crazy. You know, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm just putting it out there.
So Lunar also says, we lived in the 1600s was the first one, so past life that she remembers, but it's not the first one in reality, but it's the first to remember. Then the next one was in the early 1800s for me, and a couple of others, some women. You know what's really trippy though is that just because you're remembering them in sequential order as far as years go on, it doesn't mean that the 1800s life didn't occur before your 1600s life. You go and you incarnate when you need to at whatever time is appropriate for you to develop. And like right now, we're living in this like hyper modern, high tech thing. Who knows? Maybe like your next life, you want to go and be a caveman. It just depends on what your soul's about, you know? But I think I'm definitely going to take a vacation life on a different planet, Steven. This place is fucking heavy.
Dude, this place is crazy. You know why? I've been looking up, does Michelle Obama have a penis from the Ellen DeGeneres fucking dancing gif? And I can't find it anywhere. And I know it exists because Wes Moody has it. They have scrubbed the internet of any proof. That big Mike exists.
Oh yeah. Yeah, if you just watch her appearance on Ellen in the green dress. I mean, you see the tucking job pants. Just didn't. Yeah. Props for RR sharing out the PayPal. Yeah, I'm not monetized. It is my birthday. If you guys want to fucking jingle my pocket, that would be.
Throw him some money, and we'll get him. Like Jillian, first off, Jillian already did.
Yeah.
So I think you should take off your shirt.
You think I should take off my shirt? You guys
I strongly believe.
You don't want to see my hairy.
Yes, you do. I'm going to do it with you. It's going to be two naked men up here.
Oh,
all right, I'll do it with you.
They're going to meme us forever if we do that, dude.
I've already been memed. According to Christy, guys, according to Christy, has my fat ass in a frame on her wall. No, actually, she said she put it in her closet. She said her niece walked in and saw a picture of me like this, like from like fat ass 4 years ago.
Holy shit.
Who the hell is that? According to Christy, some evil bitch.
Yeah, I mean, that's,
what's up, man? Come on.
Image and likeness, right? You guys want to see me with my fucking shirt off?
Yes. Is that what Jillian paid? Jillian paid
to see me with my shirt off.
Yes, she did. She gave you a birthday gift. You can do this shit. Look, Perry's in the chat. He's ready to fucking and take the chat down because we need nipple. Just there we go. All right, there we go. Coil's gonna do it.
I need like 2 minutes to get ready because I'm wearing.
All right, well, I'm gonna talk to the chat. I'm gonna talk to listen, Parrothead. You've got to get this ready. Parrothead, you've got to get this prepared. You've got to get the screenshot ready. All right, Jedi Bill. Look, send it to Jedi Bill. All right, send it to anybody who loves this gayness. Phil TMNT. Send it to him. Send it to the Dix division. All right. Send it to Culture. Culture will say Steve lost his damn mind again. He will never talk to me at all. Doubles won't talk to me at all. Listen, this is happening.
God
This is
damn it.
happening.
I can't believe you guys talked me into this. All right. I'm not going to do the rest of the show like this, but just.
I'm just saying. This is important, Coil. This is very important. Look, he's muted.
Like some birthday nudity shit.
Look, there we go. See, look. There we go. Blow yourself up. Blow yourself. You got to blow yourself a little.
I don't know how to do that. There we go.
There you go.
Right.
See, go. Thank you, ladies. Thank you. Please send money. Please send money to Immortal Coil. He is doing this for you, for your pleasure alone. Naked stream, baby.
I know. They're gonna fucking meme us for the rest of our lives now.
I don't give a shit. Walton's been memed 1,000 times.
Look at Walton and Coil just like naked fucking ganging it up on the Savage
begging
show.
for money on PayPal.
No, but I have quite the hairy chest. I do not manscape my chest area.
I do not shave my nipples. This is all I got. All right, they're like little sunflowers of love. Okay, that's what I got. All right,
Yeah.
and I think Deborah. Yeah, Deborah, talk to me, Dirt. Talk to me. Are you coming to Philly sometime soon?
Well, and see, that's the thing is, I'm Scottish as fuck and Irish as fuck, so we just got chest hair. It's cold in the fucking Highlands, you know. So,
the Scotch Irish in me would not let me grow a beard for the longest time. I still have like this little tiny hole on one side of my jaw.
Man, I've had a mustache since I was 12,
Look,
but my
made
beard.
Jillian happy.
Did I? Is she?
Yes, you did. Look at her.
Is she?
Dude, she's excited. All right, that's right above that. Look, she's excited.
Oh, there she is. Okay.
All
Yeah.
right, and look, I don't even know who Never Say Never is, but they got a good look at our tits.
Holy fuck. Yeah, it's a birthday stream. Don't look for toplessness as a regular feature, at least on my side. But hey,
Don't listen to Coil. If it gets me more subs, I am down. I will sell my soul. I don't give a shit. All right.
Yeah. So I'm just going through the chat trying to find where I left off. So lots of happy birthday wishes. I appreciate that, you guys. You know, it's a trip, Steven. Like it's been my modus operandi that I don't even really tell people when it's my birthday, if it's like coworkers and shit. Cause my predilection is to not make a big fuss over myself, you know, but I'm also in this place since especially since I split with my daughter's mother. I've had a couple of relationships since then, but by and large I've been alone. And then like I was telling you about the muggle monkey mind kind of shit, and just how between the chat and yourself, like those are my friends. You know, so when we're not streaming, I'm mostly like I'm quiet and I keep to myself. I'm just hoping for a good conversation at some point. But most people just want to be like, hey, do you have a cigarette? Do you have $1? Can I use your phone? You know, shit like that. They don't even say, do you have $1? They say, can I hold $1? Hey, can I hold $1? I'm like,
so
I don't know, can you?
Never Say Never says great sunflowers though. Well, thank you very much, Never Say Never. And Jillian hates manscaping. So dude, you need to just you better not clip a single hair off that bush. All right. We want a puffy like a koosh ball. I want that thing. I want it explosive.
Yeah. I find manscaping to be somewhat effeminate. Now I'm not saying neatly trimmed, but you know, porn has done a lot of bad things for body image, and you know, I don't give a shit.
I love the hairless. Oh, I love the hairless look. I'm
a fucking beast, man. Savage spirituality. I'm a rare fucking mutant on planet Earth, dude. I'm gonna be as natural as fucking possible. I don't even like using like scented colognes or like deodorants and shit, man. I would rather smell like myself. Yeah. What's this thing you're trying to share?
Okay, first I'll share that because we're gonna bring everybody down. I want to bring everybody down for a minute.
Wiggle,
You
wiggle.
may or may not be seeing something that may or may not be true. All right, that's all I'm saying.
Big Mike. Oh man.
But also Parrot Head. Parrot Head.
Parrot Head.
Hold on.
He is the meme king.
Yes, Parrot Head has let us know. Will you share it? All right, it's let us. Okay, there's a screenshot out there of us naked.
There it is. I knew he was going to do it.
Who knows what's going to happen from there?
We're going to get memed to fucking high hell, dude. I know it. It's the fucking naked man show over on the Savage channel.
What the fuck is Walton doing to Coil? What the fuck?
I know. I've allowed him to corrupt me. Let's see. Let's see here.
I couldn't find a clip of the quarter test. I couldn't find the quarter roll test. That's crazy. They're really scrubbing. Listen, I don't care if we had a tranny in the White House. I don't care. Just be real about it. You know what I mean?
Just admit it. Yeah, if fucking Obama likes hopping on cock and you had to adopt kids, it's not a big deal. Just fucking say it.
Just say it.
He's not even an American citizen.
He's not even an American citizen, right? No. This is how fucked we are as a fucking nation. Like, this is how much bullshit can happen when you steal elections in the middle of the night in 2020. This is, like, there are pictures. There are pictures of Mike and Mike. There's Barack and Mike. There are pictures of Barack and Mike hanging out in college in Hawaii. And Mike looks an awful like Michelle's like twin brother. It's like,
well, and there's like gay men who said that they went down on Obama and shit. I'm sorry, Barry Sertoro.
And the thing is I don't care. I genuinely do not give a shit if there was a man married to a transgender woman in, you know what I mean? Running
but you have to own it. You can't
does not own it, but you have to own it, right?
Yeah. You can't be selling us bullshit because we can see through it.
They're
see through that dress. That's what they do.
We see the boing, we see it. Boing.
We see the bouncy bounce. Lunar Eclipse says, I think that here lately that all we have abilities are in overload lately. What do you think?
Well, right now, with the alignment, with the Uranus-Saturn alignment, yes, the 420 and 421 have two major alignments that are happening. We've had a lot of astrological alignments, including plus the full moon, and also the eclipse in Aries. We have had a lot of alignments that have occurred over the last month. So all you spellcasters out there, take advantage. I sure as fuck am.
It's like Avatar when the comet shows up.
And for those of you who aren't inclined toward astrology, tomorrow is a big day for manifestation regarding money, power, like personal power and money, finances. So if you're doing anything regarding your finances tomorrow, it's blessed. So make sure to put a lot of manifestation energy into it, and maybe gamble a little. Tomorrow.
There we go. Deborah Cohen says, you feel like you have to be less of yourself at work, Immortal Coil. The jobs that I've held have been in like construction and manufacturing, which is a very primitive,
he does manly jobs
kind of. Yeah. I mean, I have the frame and the hands for it. So, and like I say, I prefer to make infrastructure and build things for people that they can use. But the type of workers that those attract don't typically have very deep thoughts beyond like, beyond like, your DeWalt sucks. You should get a Milwaukee kind of thing. That's about,
this poor lunar man is working with a whole bunch of solar dude bros.
Well, that's the thing. I can manifest that aspect of my ego. That part's not a problem. I can bullshit with dudes all day, but like it's not. It doesn't feed the soul beyond the fact that I'm engaging in a service to others activity. But I tell you what, man, I might have like one friend in each of those jobs that I had that could go a little bit deep, but they can't go all the way to fucking Alpha Centauri or back to source with me. They can just go to like, yeah, wouldn't it, like kind of stoner talk? Like, yeah, wouldn't it be cool if we like didn't die when we die and we're just kind of like immortal kind of shit? And I'd be like, well, that we are. And they'd be like, yeah, right on, man. And then they'd go back to hammering fucking drywall. Yeah.
right.
And it's just kind of like, fuck.
There's nothing wrong with that if for a person who is living that experience and in their education of the soul. There's nothing wrong with that. But I understand what he's saying. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, totally. Well, I mean, and that's the thing is, even amongst like regular people, I find not many people I can talk to, much less people who or truly see me. When I go and hang out with psychic people, sometimes I have that problem too, is that they're a little bit too woo-woo, or they're a little bit too invested in their channeling spirit people, or
Wiccan
or
bitches are crazy.
Yeah, or they're so
dogmatic as fuck.
Yeah, or they're so quote unquote evolved past the point of being human that they hardly have any connection with their body or with the earth. They're just like, oh, I'm gonna like soak up these cosmic vibes and just like, and it's like, why the fuck did you even decide to be born if you were just gonna hang out in cosmic vibes all day? You gotta be here. You gotta be present. Go ahead.
No, because that might be for me. That might be their path on their current journey. And that is where they're supposed to be. You know who I love? I love the flighty, fairy-like spirits, the fairy-like women. They're my favorite, and men too. They're fairy-like men that just have a very open hearts. They're energetically unbound. I like those types myself. When it comes to practicing or looking for like gem shops or magic shops, it is very rare. It does happen. I married one. I was with her for 5 years. I will find a Wiccan woman who respects the divine masculine as much as she understands her representation of the divine feminine. But for the most part, when I go to Wiccan shops, they don't understand me. Right. They don't understand me. All they see is, oh my God, there's a dick that walked into the room, and he is really he's really confident in his solar energy, and we don't like that here. No. Like Wiccan shops really fucking upset me, man. Like many times they'll walk in and I'm scowled against. It's very rare that I'll find somebody who's like on my level and understands. That's why I love going to African shops, go to hoodoo shops. They fucking get it, man. They are earthy. They are on that level. They understand that the spirit is married. They understand. They understand my necronomiconic nature. They get it. And so I don't get judged there. They come in and they accept me for who I am. The judgmental ones, most especially, are the Catholics who got mad at Sky Daddy and then became goddess worshippers. Those are the fucking worst.
Oh yeah. They're like they're
almost like as fuck.
Well, they're almost like angry political lesbians,
Yes.
Except it's like angry magical bitches.
One of the most fun people I ever stood in circle with for years was dude, a skinhead Republican gay man. He was but he was fun as shit. He owned himself. All right. He was hailing the mother with a limp wrist and under the full moon. But he was also fiscally conservative. He was like, no. Faggots need to know their place. Right. But he was also like very pro-European, like very pro-European descent. Like, no. Step back, minority. You have your space and I have mine. Like he was
funny as fuck.
Dude. You would think that they would all be contradictory, self-hating energies, and they were not. They were all energetically sound, and within the frame of his presentation and belief in self were very fair and very open and educated. It was just like, it was astounding to me. I was like, I don't understand you at all, but I really dig your vibe. Yeah.
One man's show says every time I try meditation, I put myself to sleep. I must be doing it wrong. That's part of the growth curve, man. I mean,
Yes, it
everybody.
is. No,
Yeah,
you're not doing it wrong.
even like Tibetan monks, that shit happens to them. You know, you just
Yeah.
keep working at it.
Most times that happens to me. Honest to God, most times that happens to me. So when you are practicing deep meditation and you fall into REM, that is the gateway to controlling your dreams.
Yes.
That's the gateway to being able to astral project. Trust me, man. There, you're going to find this sweet spot that exists just before the twilight of sleep. You're gonna you will eventually find it, or one day you're gonna just like, wow, that was a wacky dream, or you're going. What I suggest doing one man show, if you're really into that, work on projection, work on your astral projection, because that helped me to find my sweet spot. When I first started going, like having outer body experiences, is when I began to, my mind opened the doors themselves naturally to being able to trust the tether that exists between spirit and body, and that in itself helped me to travel to different planes, different places.
Yeah, and I would also suggest maybe a standing meditation would suit you better. When I was
Sitting,
learning
crouching, standing, yeah.
When I was learning martial arts, you had to learn basic stances in order for the techniques to work, because it's more about what you're doing with your feet and your waist than what you're doing with your hands. So I would take one of those postures and I would stand still and meditate in them. And I was talking about this on a different stream, Stephen. Like we would do things, we would select certain stances and do 100-day challenges where you just stand there for half an hour for 100 days consecutively. And they say if you do that, then the posture becomes yours. You know, so, and I'm not saying you have to do martial arts one man show, but a version of standing meditation might help you stay awake. But
hand gestures also help a lot.
Yeah.
Those up now.
And that also doesn't invalidate what Steven said. I think like working on your astral and lucid skills are also something that you should do. But also maybe not meditate so close to bedtime, or when you've been tiring out your body.
Sunlight. In one man show, do it in sunlight. The active solar energies will keep you from going lullaby, which is natural to lunar energies. And it will charge you at the same time. There's different meditations, different meditational practices for different times of the day. But yeah, do it. Try. I know it's hard. I don't like doing it myself. But doing the folded leg stance, in direct sunlight will help you with that.
There you go. Speaking of lunar energy, Lunar Eclipse Paranormal says, where all do you guys stream to besides YouTube? Well, we were just working on that, weren't we, Stephen?
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Yes, we are. We're going to be going on Rumble. We're going to be streaming it on Twitter. We're also going to be taking Dragonstorm to Spotify and creating just a podcast there, because it'll be easier for people to listen other than YouTube. Because unless you buy YouTube Premium, then your app will shut down, or it's just easier. Like I have Premium just for the sake of it, so I can listen to playlists over and over again. But honestly, Spotify is the place to be if you want to listen to a podcast or something like this.
Yeah, it's coming down the pike, you guys. I know it seems like we're just bullshitting toplessly, but we're actually doing some work back here.
We are trying, and we're going to be taking life coaching classes. I mean, we're moving into. I want to move this into a new direction, a serious direction. I'm not going to stop being jokey and stop being me, because I think that's part of who we are.
Sure.
But I may pick up an abuse victim from time to time. All right, but with good intentions. But when it comes down to the healing work that we want to do and be a part of, I really enjoy what the path that I'm on. I put a post out on On Facebook, the first person to like it was Bear. By the way, Bear Nerd Fun is going to be a guest on Dragonstorm. Can't wait to have him this Tuesday. Guys, please come check that out.
Yeah.
He's
I'll be there in the chat, man.
Absolute. Thanks, brother. But I put a post up on Facebook and I said something like, what was it? He goes, I had to step away from the indie sphere that I helped to build for a couple of years while I self-destructed, which is the truth. Ooh. I went through narcissistic abuse. I self-destructed. I was like, and then I came back and it's like, everybody's, I stepped back into it. I said, and everybody's so jealous of other people's successes. Coil, do you remember in the beginning when you, me, and Snowdub, me, you, and Snowdub saw Drunk 3PO hitting the, and Lethal Lightning hitting their stride? And what did we say? Do not be jealous of your brother's success.
That's right.
Because we all kind of felt a certain way because we all started at the same time. So we all kind of felt a certain way. But don't be jealous of your brother's success because that poisons you. That poisons the well. And what I see in the indie sphere that we help to build now is a bunch of motherfuckers just hating. A bunch of just sour. And I get it. Listen, there are backstabbing pieces of fucking worthless shit out there that have gotten breaks, that have stabbed other people, gotten ahead. Yes, I get it. Look, but that's everywhere in life. That is everywhere in life. But there are genuinely good people who have not done any wrong to anybody, like Gary Nerdrotic, that has not done any bad to anybody. And there are just people just hating on this dude. And it all comes from jealousy. So I go back, it's all jelly. So I'm looking at this and I'm like, and most of the people, that I used to stream with or that I, was around when they were coming up, like they're all fucking hateful. So I'm going to go back to my own island on Dragonstorm. I'm going way up and I'm going to step forward into the future because I have learned so much from YouTubing, networking, working with other people, also the mistakes that I've made, which have been valuable lessons that I am thankful for. And I've managed through the good people in my life, Immortal Coil, Sporking News Podcast, the really good people in my life. All right. Not among others. Sporking said something last week when I had him on my channel that said a lot to me. He said, I don't hate your ex. She has work that she needs to do on herself. And I hope that she does that, but that's on her. But I don't even hate that person because I understand the struggles. And it really meant a lot to me. It was like, because we were kind of going into the past, because, he's involved with that history too, because, he was a part of Rogue. And that hit me on a certain level. I'm so thankful for my brothers, Coil, who keep me on a higher plane. I'm so thankful for Sporking, who keeps me thinking forward and keeps me human in the best ways that we are human. Like, I don't hate. Like, I have no time to hate. Seeking vengeance takes energy away from your true purpose.
It does.
And my true purpose as it stands right now, because of the help that I have given and received, received and given to other abuse victims, this is the vein that I want to exist in.
Absolutely.
I want to help I want to pass on the good energy that Coil's given me, that Sporking and others have given me. I want to, that ETEP who has been there for me, I want to pass that energy on. Mr. Tickle Trunk, DJ Odyssey, Wes Moody, just the beautiful people out here. And so that's where I'm going to exist. And I'm going to do that. And I'm going to do the best that I can. And I want to be serious about it. And at the same time, I might fuck one of you two bitches. I'm just saying, it may happen.
Well, and we keep talking if you want it. If you study hard and
listen, if you give
keep
consent,
off the drugs. Yeah.
If you give consent, I may dominate you, and you ladies want to be dominated. So, I'm just saying that may happen.
Well, and to
we're going to be the bad boys that do good for you.
That's right. We're completely safe. We promise.
Yeah, we're safe.
But we also talked about how at the ultimate sign that you have been healed and that you've healed yourself through your experience is that there's forgiveness at the end of it.
Yes. Yeah.
And I know like when it's new and it still hurts and you're still pissed off and all that kind of stuff, forgiveness, why would I ever fucking forgive that person? Because at the end you realize that the other and yourself is one. And if you harbor hate, you still are tethered to that situation.
One love, brother.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's some
Yeah.
trippy ass shit.
That is some deep shit. That is so hard. So but there's a segregation. Understand that there is a legitimate segregation in that.
Right.
Because
we're not saying go and be friends with them. We're just saying that
no.
They can be over there. You're finished with them. And you know what? I forgive you. Go have a life. Go be somewhere, you know.
Go be with the dude who beat you and spread. Yeah, right. You do that. But you look at it like this is the way that I separate it. When it comes down to spirit, because Lunar's out here spitting so many good facts, our opinions. When it comes to spirit, we are together. We are one. We are. But when this experience in this incarnation, there's different rules applied when you're in flesh. There's just different rules applied in the 3D.
Right.
And if a person is continually making self-destructive choices or is making selfish, egotistical, destructive choices, if they choose to bring you down, there is a lesson to be learned there. There's a lesson. Narcissistic abuse has a lesson. Narcissists have a function. All right. Their function is to be a piece of shit, which forces us to elevate ourselves. Right. But at the end of it, that soul is going to pass on to the next realm. And we are all connected in the collective. We are all parts of the one, all of us.
Right.
So you have to forgive that part.
Yeah. I always say when we get to the other side, we'll have a big party and laugh at how silly we all were.
I hope so. Yeah. And I hope that we have mad celestial sex. It was pretty good in the 3D.
I don't even need a penis now. We could just merge.
I'm going to merge. I'm going to run through you with my astral tendrils.
That's funny as fuck. Mike coming back, he says DNA is 3, by the way, according to the new research, three coils, 3 strands. I know what you're talking about, man. They're actually children are being born with 3 strands of DNA, and humans in general are, especially when they do work on themselves, they're manifesting that next strand. But I'll tell you this:
had them.
I tell you this: the original life form that the ETs came down and fucked with, that eventually became us, it had 12 strands.
There you go.
And
thank you, COIL.
They rearranged shit and they unplugged some shit and they scooted some shit around, and here we are.
Yeah, we were engineered. We were absolutely engineered and brought down to a more pliable level to be worked in order to, in part and parcel to do labor, but also to worship, literally giving over our own power. We were dumbed down as a race. And separated, and you know, COIL can probably explain this a lot better than I. But we had those strands. We had those strands available to us. We are now in a position where we're evolving back. We're gaining these things back that were natural to us in the first place. So it's a beautiful thing to see, but it's baby steps as compared to who we were 100,000 years ago.
Absolutely. Good points, man. Deborah says, what do you think narcissist BPTs incarnate as? I'd like my next to reincarnate into a roach so I can squash him.
Ooh.
Now, that's I have a 2-pronged reply to that. Okay. There is a possibility that your narc X voluntarily downgraded their vibration in order to propel your health. Right. So that when you go to the other side and you see them again, you'll recognize them as who they truly are and not this person who fucked your life. Right.
Yes.
Now, there's another possibility that if that's not the case, then upon life review, there's a great possibility that they will choose to become an experiencer of narcissistic abuse. Yeah.
But because of their karma.
Right. Right.
So I have a slightly different take on that.
Yeah, go for it, man.
So we choose before we incarnate what trials we want to overcome. I absolutely believe there are soul contract instances where a person chooses to be a dark entity, like a narcissist. And their function to do that is to help others grow, because the function of a narcissist spiritually is to force us into growing, to force us into creating boundaries, loving ourselves, having a higher understanding of self. They do have a function. And when that person passes on, if it is a soul contract, they've actually fulfilled that soul contract. I strongly believe that is the case with myself and the ex. And I think when we see each other on the other side, it's going to be hugs and thank yous on both sides.
Absolutely.
Now, the other aspect of that is when you're talking about people who choose to overcome certain trials in this incarnation, like empaths, right? So empaths and narcissists basically start out the same. They go through similar traumas. I mean, different differences, and of course, in extremity, but they have the same traumas. Empaths begin working on themselves. They prioritize what at first seems like a weakness, and that is overcaring, people pleasing. And this is why an empath needs to go through another experience later in life because of those weaknesses in order to create strong boundaries and understand their worth.
Right.
A narcissist chooses not to. They prioritize the false self. They do not heal the broken inner child. They create the narcissistic shell, and they set about creating illusion. The warped worldview, their funhouse mirror of lies. So if you are a person who was supposed to ascend to empath, but you chose narcissism, then you failed. But even though you have failed in a major way, the lesson that you were setting yourself about to learn in this incarnation, you are still performing a function. So the way that angelic entities keep the clockwork of the universe running is they will we have free will. So if a person chooses not to take the light path and they choose to take the dark path, then they're going to put that person on a path that is going to challenge other light entities, challenge others. And of course, you have dark forces, grounding forces, demonic forces that all come into that interplay. And again, free will has a major as a major component to this growth. But when that narcissist goes to the other side, goes to their life review, then they're going to see where they have failed, and they may have to run that gambit all over again. What we see right now, as far as from what I believe on this planet, is because of the population boom that has been skyrocketing over the last century. We have a lot of newborn souls, a lot of energy that is coalesced into an existence that allows them to interpret the universe, the world around them, and on a higher level. I come from a druidic way of reincarnationist thinking. I believe we all start out as basic energy. We move from plants to animals to people. And so to my mind, there's a lot of animals that have moved into people. That's why you have a lot of like gluttural, very animalistic behaviors, emphasis on selfishness, narcissistic behavior, animalistic behavior today, especially with the rise of social media, which facilitates that. And I think it does. That is a part of the cycle in and of itself. Is because you have people like newborn souls, dawn souls that have not had much experience. And for me, it is from my perspective, it is more important now for those of us who are enlightened, or at least partially enlightened. I think I'm partially enlightened. For those of us who are like trying to climb up the spiritual ladder, to really strive to be the best versions of ourselves, because we need to lead by example. We need to be the difference. We're kind of pulling the weight of a lot of like billions of just newborn souls out there just banging themselves into death, banging and screwing and cheating and lying and scheming. Not only because of the influence of the Illuminati and dark forces, but because animalistically, they are their base chakras are of the highest importance to them. They haven't had the lifetimes to work on their higher resonance vibration. They haven't had the time to work on their higher chakra points. Like, and again, I'm thankful for people like COIL who keep me on that plane. So when it comes to reincarnation, with people who have borderline personality disorder, which isn't always evil, people have narcissism, psychopathy, psychopathy, sociopathy, and other disorders. It comes down to one or two things. Did they make the choices early on in order to take the light path, or did they choose egotistical selfishness? Did they prioritize the narcissistic shell and illusion? That's, if they did, then they're going to have to face that in their life review. They're going to have to face what they did and have to run the same damn lessons all over again. But as Coyle said earlier, I do also strongly believe that we make soul contracts with others in order to benefit our soul tribe. Like, I'll make a deal with you. I'll take a dark route this time to help you out if you get me on the back end in the next life.
There you go. Yeah. In my own case, I knew what I was coming down here for. And I'm like, look, I've been thinking about this planet and these people. I'm going to go down there. Who's with me? And
because you're one of the fuckers that tweaked us, you bastard.
Yeah. that's part of my karma. It is.
Yeah.
But it's also the only way to undo that is to raise the vibration of the planet. And the best way to do that is through the people. This is like one of the hottest tickets in the cosmos right now. I mean, Steven said it himself, like the population boom. People
Good
are
night,
like,
Parrot Head.
Parrot Head. Have a good one.
Good night.
Yeah, Mike also said good night. So happy birthday. Have a good time. Appreciate you, brother. Yeah, it's one of the hottest tickets in the cosmos, man. This is where shit's happening. Once we ascend to fourth and fifth vibration, man, like it's going to be talked about throughout the whole universe just because of our genetics, the type of spirits that are incarnating here, and our history, and for us to just go ahead.
I mean, if I could ask, Coyle, do you believe, from your perspective, that it's also kind of like it's not a science project, but it's like for species that have already gone through this, millennia, many millennia ago. Mm-hmm. Is it kind of an exploration of their own selves to see another species evolve into a higher state of being?
Well, it is, because just as we're being mentored, we will also mentor when we get to that phase. A lot of the species that are interacting with us now, if they're not directly involved in our genetics, they're interested in the process because we're very primitive, we're very physical, we have very strong drives, but we also have, in comparison to the other races, an extremely wide emotional range. Because of our primate aspect, we have deeper feelings than, like most of the races that I come across. They'll have like senses of humor and shit, and they can joke, but they're like, they seem a lot more serious than us because they don't feel things the same way. And especially when we're I've told you I've had instances where I acted badly in front of them, and it's because of my emotional reaction to things. It's led me into, at times, acts of violence, and at times the terror or whatever gets to be overwhelming, and they can't understand that because they're just not emotional like we are. But the benefit of that emotionality is that we are able to manifest incredible things that just I was talking about this earlier, like if they need a tool or like somewhere to sit, they just manifest it out of energy potentia, and then when they're done with it, it disappears back into the potentia. But we can build a chair. Yeah, we can build a chair and it will last for 100 years, and that's just amazing to them because they have energy that's very utile, and then when they're not using it, they're done with it. Just poop.
And it goes back to the water experiment again.
Yeah.
We're mostly made up of water, and emotion can affect. Emotion is vibration. It can affect your state of being. Why you fall into depression, why you manifest certain things, why you stay stuck in that routine.
I was actually
want to pass on pain.
Yeah, I was actually half-ass kidding or half-ass considering a side hustle where I would pray over bottles of water and just like sell it to people. I wonder if people would buy that shit. Work. It could.
Did you ever hear about? The pH balance experiment? Oh God. Okay, so one university in California, they had concentrated meditators, witches, whatever, concentrate on the level of pH balance in a gallon of water, whether it was to lower it or raise it. And then they would, after the meditation sequence, they would package it up, they would put it in a controlled container, and they would send it cross country to another university. Actually, I think it was not cross country, I think it was Colorado, University of Colorado. And they sent it there, and then they would test the balance of the water. And what they found is that the meditators actually changed the level of pH in the water. And this is all from concentration, all from the state of emotion, controlled emotion, and directing that energy out of water and changing it. These things exist. This is proof of it. And why doesn't mainstream? Why this shit is not taught in schools?
Oh, why.
They're too busy teaching you to confuse your genders. Yeah. Gender identity and shit like that. But we have so much greater power. I've been casting spells since I was 13 years old. This shit works, yo. I have been doing this.
It wouldn't have persisted as a culture for thousands of years if it didn't.
Right, exactly. Yeah. You can do some incredible things with honey, sugar, a picture, a plate, and a little bit of semen. Trust me.
Don't ask him how he knows, guys. Ferris Bueller Day, new here. What are we talking about? The overall topic of the night was reincarnation, but we're kind of at that phase where the chat has taken over, and we're just kind of going through it. So if you have any thoughts on that, if you're brand new to the channel, we're kind of like Art Bell meets the Jedi Council kind of shit. So we're talking about spirituality, metaphysics. We're talking about healing from abuse. We're talking about spiritual evolution potential. We're talking about life and death. We're talking about life in between life. We're talking about just how to be a better human in general. So welcome in. It's also my birthday today, so you came on.
Angus is in the chat, dude.
Is he? Where the fuck is he?
Yeah, Angus, 55 after the hour.
Where is that fucker? I will find him.
You better find him.
Yeah. It's hard to do it on a smartphone. Right after
it's all the way at the end, all the way down.
There he is. RR. Yo, I'm up. What is up, sir? Hail trans fat. It's been a while.
Hail.
Yeah, just Walton and I are wagging the tongue about some spiritual shit, man. And here's the thing, like Angus likes to fuck around, but he's actually a pretty deep guy. You can actually talk to him about shit, and he
can get
comes up with he can get deep, ladies. He can get deep. If you don't believe it, try him out. Okay. But I do want to express a debt of gratitude. Angus is a master organizer of people, and some of the people that he has found and placed into the public sphere have gone on to become like mega famous people, and nobody knows this because Angus was infamously blackballed on a live stream, and it was a shame. People are just over emotional, and they get upset, and they need a.
Oh, he's getting his revenge now. Angus is fucking out there.
I know it.
Kicking fucking dicks.
He's out there doing it. But we're talking about the OG crew. This was like the godfather of the OG crew. Hail trans fat. Hail Black
brother.
Angus. Yeah, love you, man. Thanks for showing up. By the way, today's my birthday. PayPal's in the link if you guys want to jangle my pocket. That'd be kind of cool since I'm
You
not
might get,
monetized.
you might, and look, you might get naked. You might get naked. Coil. That shit might happen tonight.
I don't know.
Hey, it's already happened once. You pay
Top-
enough money. Jillian got enough.
Yeah, toplessness is one thing, but down south, you guys are really gonna. You'd have to meet me in person.
Listen, and don't shave. If Jillian, decides to pay enough to get that, right? You get no shaving. She wants it. She wants a bush.
Yeah.
She said no manscaping.
Yeah, see, here we go. Leonard gets what I'm talking about. She says, yeah, they can show their chest, I believe, but they won't show more because they will pull your channel down. I've seen it done. But aside from that, if you're pulling out your dick on live streams, there's something wrong with you. This isn't only friends.
See, Friday Night Tights about 1 year ago. Remember that shit that went down?
Yeah.
Dude. Oh my God.
Yeah, it went down
and then Mandy tried to recreate it on her channel, like all of a sudden, pulling you somebody randomly. First off, that was totally planned. But you know what I mean? Like, dicks was a thing on fucking live streams there for a minute. I don't.
Leonard's also saying, I will say that women trim for reasons of cleanliness because of infections and stuff. Listen, I'm not talking about women. I actually love the shaved box, by the way.
You're putting me out there. Lunar eclipse. You really got me interested right now. I'm sorry. Yeah. Please continue.
Well, no. Like a shaved box, fresh out of the shower. I will chow down on that for an hour. Trust me.
You're fucking right.
Trust me. But when it comes to manscaping, like I said, I find that slightly effeminate. If that's something you do what you do, boo boo. But that's not what I do.
When I am engaging in a ceremony, a skyclad ceremony, when I am engaging in any kind of partner activity, I'm sorry, I'm just not going to shove a ball of fucking bush in a woman's face. If I've got her head hanging off the side of the bed, then I'm throat fucking her. I'm not doing that. I think that's ignorant to me.
Dude, you're getting trolled. Parrot Head says Walton likes fairies.
No, wait, no. You twisted it. That's not what I meant. That's not what I meant.
So the kind of people
fairy spirits. Fairy spirits.
Yeah. These are the kind of people who will mishear pagan on purpose.
Yeah, they absolutely do. McEnany did that to me last week on Snowstream. Like a motherfucker. No, I said I wanted to hug McEnany. I didn't say I wanted to stuff him. All right, that's not what I said. It's filling holes and stuff, filling souls and stuffing holes. That's what I meant.
There you go. Lunar also says, yeah, it's crazy. I'm grounded. They need to be grounded. I let everyone be themselves, but you have that in every culture. I love nature and the energy of the earth. I'm a big believer of fairies and fae.
Yeah.
So there you go. You get some support there. But
of my early, sorry.
Yeah, well, no, I had a girlfriend who was like way into that kind of thing. She was an Aries. She was like 5 years older than me. I was dating her as a teenager.
My man.
I was 17. She was 22, and yes, sir, I did that thing. But I tend to find like I'm more attracted to balance. I like hyper intelligent women, but I also like very sexy women at the same time. So I mean, that's part of the Taurus thing. I like beautiful things. I like to fuck, but
I like some highly intuitive, broken, and slutty.
Do you?
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. That's what's gotten me into trouble.
It is
Subscribe
what it is.
To Dragon Storm.
Yeah, there you go. and then when we come to your live event, that you can form two separate lines, or you can get in the same line twice. I don't know. Whatever. We'll fucking figure that out.
When it comes to fae folk, a lot of my early work dealt with, summoning, which I don't suggest novices doing. But a lot of it had to do with nature meditation. Going to like your babbling brook, away from everything else, away from just technology and people. Just
untouched
meditating
forests. You'll find a lot of that shit out there. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. They exist, and they're everywhere. But in the more suburban areas, it's very difficult. It's like that's why it's like okay, I'm not knocking city witches. Because I'm a city witch, and I'm not knocking city witches. because you can find things there, but they're more in the paranormal realm.
Yeah.
You really have to go out to nature, untouched nature, in order to find portals or have
Virgin
experiences with
forests.
Fae.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Now, and depending on where you go, like if you're in the mountains, there's a certain type, and if you're on the water, there's a different type, and
Absolutely.
forests, there's a different type. So, it would behoove you to explore the planet and take some bear spray, take a a Derringer or whatever you got to do, but get out there. At the rate that I'm gonna sound like a fucking hippie. At the rate of deforestation and all that kind of shit, they're making up excuses to take away the trees. The oldest life form on Earth is a tree. Okay. And it's like it's so old that they don't even want to tell people what it is, because there was like a kid that went and cut down a 3,000-year-old tree just for the fuck of it. And I think that's murder, dude. That's straight up murder. Something that old. Fuck him.
Well, let's also look at the balance of deforestation, though. Let's take a look at the balance of that. If Canada wasn't the biggest exporter of wood, then we would see the ice caps receding faster than they are now. Not that that's not a natural occurrence, but trees will grow through fucking anything. Trees will grow through permafrost. And when you have a forest that comes up through in permafrost, that permafrost disappears. And it actually does warm the planet.
Yeah.
But
we got to cross a tree with a tardigrade and see what happens.
Let's just see what happens, dude. Let's do it. A new episode on Star Trek STD.
STD.
Star Trek Discovery.
Fuck. Lunar Eclipse says we have a video about astral projection on your channel.
Ooh.
Dude, we got to check that out. If there's any mods in the chat, I don't know if you have. Do you have a link, Steven? She's not on my channel. I can't do it on my phone.
Dead.
Yeah,
you
I have
can't.
to.
Are you sure you can't?
I'm sure I can't.
You can't. You click on the chat.
I can click on the chat, but when I hit the options, it says like, do you want to put the person in timeout? Do you want to?
It doesn't say add as moderator.
No, not on my phone. I'd have to go to the YouTube app and then
No, my phone is absolutely dead. RR. Or if you could do that.
Yeah, if you're still up, RR, please throw Lunar Eclipse's channel in the chat, and if you could, if you can find the actual video. Yeah, we're about to wind down here, man. We've been going for 3 hours. No, it's all good, man. I appreciate that. Angus, you should come on earlier sometime. It'd be cool to fucking bullshit with you and get some of your perspectives on some of this spiritual shit. RR's coming back with your tagline there, Steven. Oh, you're gonna hear it soon, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So go ahead, Steven. Tell everybody where they can find you. Talk yourself up, buddy.
Oh, okay. Thank you guys so much for being here. I greatly appreciate you. Make sure to smash that like button, share out the link, subscribe to Immortal Coil, and support your independent creators out there. You don't know how much it means to an independent comic book creator or a book, someone who's putting out a novel or a YouTube channel, how much it means just to get a share, just to get some eyes on their project or on their endeavors. Greatly appreciate that. Remember to support your independent creators, because if the industry hates you, fuck them. Support independence. And you can find me over at Lodonis Raven Wolf Dragon Storm. We may be I may have to postpone tomorrow's show a few days because I'm working. It's 420 weekend, and I'm working all weekend. But if we do, I will let you guys know. Also going to have Bear Nerd Fun over there, another Dragon stream. Kind of moving the Dragon streams to having guests for the time being. And if you would, check out my Wolf streams. Just started those. I am counting the days of no contact. I think it's very important for people who have been through a highly abusive relationship with a manipulative, stalking, hoovering hobgoblin who will smear your name, destroy your reputation, and then try to come back at some point to further destroy you over and over again. The psychological manipulation that happens from a narcissist is insidious, and it is targeted, and it is intentional. Narcissists know what they are doing. They know that they are lying. They know that they are manipulating. They don't care. They will cast aspersions. They will gaslight. And they will present any version of history, any untruthful version that they can in order to avoid accountability for the destruction that they cause. If you have been through a relationship like that, or you had a narcissistic family member, please come over to Lodanis Dragonstorm. We hang out over there. We have fun. There's a lot of healing, just getting down into our fifis, some occasional dick jokes, and that's just that's just the mode of who we are. And laughter is one of the greatest healing properties in the universe. So know your worth. And I am Lodanis Ravenwolf Dragonstorm, you seer and sage. Hail to all my fellow survivors and thrivers from narcissistic abuse. Remember to know your worth, believe in yourself, wash your hands, wash your ass, be good to each other, yet suffer no fools. One love.
We love that, man. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Like I said, usually my birthdays, they're low key, and I don't even like fucking tell people because I'm I don't want to beg for attention. How does that sound? I would rather it be organic if it's going to happen, and I don't need to wear a sign that says like, "Give me a blowjob, it's my birthday," even though that's probably not a bad idea. But for everybody who came out, I appreciate it. Everybody who donated to the PayPal, I appreciate that. Tomorrow I'm planning to go and have my Denny's free breakfast and see how much free food I can get. And then,
It's all about it.
yeah. Well, I'm a tourist. I like to eat too. Not just box, but like actual food.
Sleep, eat, and fuck, fight.
Yeah. There you go, man. That's what we're good at. I'd like to thank the chat for coming out. The best chat on YouTube. You guys are truly like extensions of my family, and without you, none of this other shit would be possible. I'd like to encourage you to go to the Dragonstorm page, share it out. Let's get up to 50K. Let's get this fucking train wreck special
express a rolling.
Yeah, let's get this going, because then we'll take this shit on the road and we'll come to your town and sleep on your couch.
Your couch. That's right.
Eat your food. And hopefully heal some souls and fill some holes along the way.
That's right. We are life coaches you're going to love. Yeah.
So thanks everybody for coming out. Angus, thanks for stopping by, man. We had Angus and Snowdub stop by. It's been a truly fat stream it has
been a fat stream.
This wonderful morning. So with that in mind, I'd like to say lift high, whatever it is, one last time. Join me in the savage salute. Here is to us what is like us, and not a goddamn thing. Take it easy.
Wash your hands, wash your ass.
Wash your hands.
Wash them. Narcissists don't wash their hands and wash their ass.